As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome, everyone, to Crunch Time, the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Friday, September 27th, and we got a loaded show tonight. A lot of football. Tigers are on right now. Currently, they're leading their White Sox 2-0, top of the
Here we go.
So, you know what? It's a good night. I'm sure Comerica Park right now is absolutely electric. I know a lot of people that went down there today. But if you're watching us, you're hanging out with us, appreciate it. Boys, how we feeling? It's a Friday. Hey, with no Sunday football, but Lions play Monday. So we'll have all our, our pregame show, watch party, postgame on Monday. But today, I'm ready. I'm fired up to do our.
Hey, it's a great
pick'ems.
We've got everything. It's a great Friday. I love Fridays. It's my especially during the football season. On top of that, the Tigers right now are literally a couple innings away from clinching their first playoffs berth since I don't even know when. Like I don't remember, and it's unbelievable. Like today, we have a chance, a Detroit team to be in the playoffs. Like the only team that recently has been the Lions. Like that's the craziest thing to think. I can't believe the Tigers have a chance to make the playoffs. It's unbelievable. We've got Michigan football tomorrow. Ohio. I'm not even going to say Michigan State because Ohio State football tomorrow as well over Michigan State by 30.
Fine point, Boone. Very fine point.
Yes, college football is going to be great today. We've got NFL, the Lions Monday Night Football, primetime football. I cannot wait. Hey, a lot to talk about. I'm pumped up. It's a beautiful Friday night, even though it's pitch black and I can't see outside of the window right now. Still a beautiful night.
Beautiful night. Oh, very fine Friday. Can't wait to do the show with you fellas.
Yeah, I mean, we had stuff come out today. Even stuff related, not quite. It's Detroit sports related, but it's not Tigers or Lions. I saw, and it came across my timeline, and you put it out too.
Oh, my
Boone.
gosh, man.
Tom Gore's getting into the NFL. Tom Gore's. He's apparently looking to purchase a 27% stake of the Chargers. And it's about a $1.5 billion purchase.
Can I ask for something real quick?
He's in the NFL.
Do I have permission from our crew from Crunch Time? Because I know where we were before. I had conversations and people come up to me, say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. We don't want to upset this guy. Do we have permission in Crunch Time Sports to just go all out if we need to say something about someone?
I mean, I would hope so, Boone. I'd hope so.
All right. Then let me
isn't here anymore.
Then final verdict. Sell the team. Like, get the team. We don't want you in Detroit anymore. No one wants Tom Gore's in Detroit. Am I alone on this? Like, get this guy out. I don't care if I never get a media pass. Wow, this man's the owner of a football team or the basketball team. Sorry. Get this man out. Like, there's no reason. You have one of the most storied franchises in all of the NBA with the Detroit Pistons. 3 championships, the bad boys, the going to work Pistons. And you tell me in 14 seasons of owning this franchise, you don't have one playoff win? You don't deserve to own the Detroit Pistons. You don't deserve to step into LCA. I don't care if you helped build it and some of your money went into it. You don't deserve to have the Pistons around his. No, you do not. The franchise deserves better. The fans deserve better. The fans should step up. People should start saying stuff. People should want better. I don't care if there's a new GM, a new basketball operations, a new coach. I'll support. Listen, I will support Langdon. I will support Bickerstaff. I will support Cade. I'll support those guys. I will not support Tom Gore's. I'm out on Tom Gore's. What are you doing going out there buying 27% of a football team when you can't even take your current team that you own to not even just the playoffs, but a playoff win? You can't do it. You don't know how. You're incompetent. I don't care if this takes away from my opportunity to maybe get some passes one day to cover the team. And you know what? If I do, I'll sit front row and look Tom Gore's in the eye and be like, what makes you think that you have the right to run this team the last 14 seasons the way you have? The Detroit fans deserve way better. Way better. It's embarrassing. All right, I'm sorry. I'm done. I never wanted to get fired up today, too.
No,
I
you
do
know
this
what,
every
Boone?
day.
You know what, Boone? And I want to say this. I think to your point, he's at least in the NFL, he's the Chargers' problem. You know, Chargers got to figure that out. I know they're probably looking for people to buy in an ownership stake. He's already out in California, so you know, I saw the news. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is happening. You have Tom Gorse now in the NFL, which is, you know, Chargers fans are going to find out very, very soon. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Unbelievable.
But I saw that across my timeline. I also saw a couple other things too. Kirby Joseph talking about how, you know, every interception he catches, he keeps every ball except one quarterback. He didn't keep this one. He didn't keep this player. And I wonder if you guys can probably already have in your mind who that player is. Let's hear it from Kirby Joseph on what quarterback that is. Very coincidental who that is.
But I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if he mad at me or not. I don't know.
Trying to pick like an intercepted football?
Yeah, it's on the football. Where you at? I got them right here. I got the first and the last one right here.
You do?
Yeah.
You have all 10? All 10 of your career balls?
Not the Matthew Stafford one. I gave that one away.
Why? You gave the Matthew Stafford one away?
Yeah, I ain't want that one. I ain't want that one.
Why?
Yo, look, this is the first one.
Wow.
This is the first one. This is the last one. I left the last one regular though, but it's the last one. Yeah, a little deflated. But
Can you tell me why you gave the Stafford one away? Why don't you want that one?
I ain't want that one. I don't want that in my house. No bad energy in my house.
Who did you give it to? A random person?
I gave it to my security director from the Lions.
Okay, well, I think that's news to everybody.
Hey, I love that. I love that. That's, you know what? That is all-time petty. That is all-time petty. And you know what? Matthew, even though, you know, Matthew being a teammate felt the need to defend his teammate, he kind of started this with the dirty comments. All right? He started all of this shit with trying to accuse Kirby of being a dirty player, even though the hit that he got on Tyler Higbee was completely legal. All right, man. So Kirby's in the right, and I love this level of pettiness. I don't mind it at all.
No, I support that message fully. I mean, personally, if I was Kirby, I'd probably frame that, make it the mantle. And I don't remember if you guys remember the replay of Matthew Stafford after he threw the interception, but he just completely stunned. Like, it was a terrible interception. Like, I would have that as like a backdrop with a picture of like Kirby intercepting the ball in the middle. But hey, if he doesn't want to keep it, like he said, no bad energy in the household, keep Stafford out.
Shout out Kirby, man. I'm a Matthew Stafford guy, but I would do the same thing. I would do the exact same thing, honestly. And then Kirby, I mean, it's crazy. That man's played 3 seasons, and she's like, do you have all 10 of your interception balls? Like, you have 10 of them, and you've only been in the league for 3 years. Like, this man is a ball. Like, he's so good at his job, and that's why like it confuses me sometimes with Kirby how people like go at him a little bit, because there are times maybe to where he overcompensates or it makes a play, like, you know, but like, guys, like, this man is a playmaker. Like, he's going to do that. I was so confused.
Bro, because I wonder what was going through his head when he saw that, the ball was intercepted, but then it was Kirby out of all people.
If I was Kirby, that would be the one that I do keep, though, because I'm like, this guy is the one that was coming at me. Like, I'm keeping this one for sure.
And guys, he also talked about the defense, which the defense has been incredible, and we'll talk more about them. And of course, against the Seahawks, you're going to need them. But look at this video of Kirby just kind of breaking down the defense and giving those guys some praise. Let's hear what he had to say.
2 new pieces on defense. You got Arnold, you also have Carlton Davis. What have they brought to the secondary this season?
They're lockdown corners, you know. I feel like they play their game, you know, which is like being very, very sticky in man covers. Like, those guys, like, wherever their man goes, that's where they go. Shout out to Brian Branch too. He had a beautiful, beautiful pass breakup out of a speed turn, like just stuff like that. Like, those guys, like, they just have a knack to like covering. And TA, CD, like, I love those guys. Like, I don't think of them as my teammates. I think of them as my brothers. Like, you know, I think of TA like my little brother. He be coming to my house. We be making music and stuff like that. He helped me in the music industry and stuff like that. And I help him on the field. Like, that's just how we go hand in hand. I just feel like, you know, those guys just give it their all. I could tell how much they love the game when I
squad.
Are you having fun with him?
Dude, not go.
Yeah.
Are you having fun with him? Is
man. Yeah.
I love him.
You know what's crazy? I actually give thanks to DJ.
Why?
Actually, because he gave me a great man coverage rep before the game, and I feel like without that rep, I probably wouldn't have had that good rep on the tight end in that game. No cap.
Really?
Yup. Right before the game, pregame, me and DJ was doing one-on-ones.
And he helped you. Maybe, yeah. I
Mhm.
don't know that he'd be a good volleyball player though.
DJ Reader got roused. Y'all better check
That's such a confusing part because I watched this earlier today, and he was like, "Yeah, DJ, me and DJ were doing one-on-one reps before," and I'm like sitting there like, "What DJ is he talking? Like, did he think that she was talking about a different DJ?" And then at the end, he's like, "Yeah, DJ Reader's got routes." Like, imagine
Hey,
DJ Reader
throw
out
him
there
at fullback.
routing
Throw him
people
at
up.
fullback.
Oh my
Have
gosh,
him
let him
play
come.
action.
Put him
DJ
one of those
Reader in the
Penny
flat.
Sewell, the Penny Sewell little catch, like off for a first down.
Did you see how that was Jaden Daniels' first touchdown? We threw it to the tackle.
Yeah, a big. What is it? Shefty calls it a thick pick or something. Pick thick or something. Or I don't know.
Thick.
I don't know, something like that.
That is wild. I didn't even know that was an actual thing for it. Hey,
But no, maybe that's for the interception. I don't know what he calls it.
Yeah,
but
I would
it's
assume. I
hilarious.
don't know what. Who knows?
Shefty's. I love Shefty. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. I mean, the defense entirely has been special. I mean, you have guys like Brian Baldinger breaking down Hutch, and we know, hey, Baldy's breakdowns. He did one on Hutch. You know, giving him some praise of a guy that we're very familiar of, making some comparisons. Let's hear from Baldy. Let's hear him break down Aiden Hutchinson here.
He did down the desert right there. Tight ends in front of him are just meaningless objects. Like, he's just going to get the ball. He's going to get to James Conner right there. He helped shut down Arizona Cardinal run game so far. Now, you just watch this right here. Tight ends in front of him, like, just all they are just objects that need to get out of the way. All right? Now he takes on Paris Johnson. Now he's waiting for the cutback to James Conner. And then you just watch this effort right here. Now, he played 58 out of 60 snaps, and he plays them all just exactly the same. Like, right here, Benson is going to break this right here. He's not down. He's ready to turn it up. And here comes Hutchinson trying to knock that ball out, right? Trying to make another play on the other side of the field. And then you just watch short yardage right here, all right? You watch him on short yardage like a panther pose right here. I don't have it. Who's got it? Once he knows, now he gets in there and he just slams DeMarcado and pulls him back, all right? Setting up a 4th and 1. And then you just watch him get to the quarterback, like right through the right tackle. And he puts a hit, letting Kyler Murray feel his punch. And then you get this right here, all right? 4th quarter, can you finish the game? Going up against Paris Johnson. First time he spun all game. The chop, bam, the spin, all right? The roll. Leads the league with 6.5 sacks. Are we looking at a potential J.J. Watt type player in this league? Because he's dominant right now. Absolutely dominant. The way J.J. was for a good 4-year stretch in a row.
Rewind to like 10 seconds.
You missed what he said.
Are we looking at a potential J.J. Watt type player in this league? Because he's dominant right now. Absolutely dominant. The way J.J. was for a good 4-year stretch in a row.
Talk to me, Baldy.
Hey, by the way, this video, guys, it's going to be brought to you by BetUS. So check them out, please. Place your bets this weekend. Football slate. But he compared him to J.J. Watt. All right, compared him to J.J. Watt,
great,
who DJ Reader played with when he was in Houston. Very familiar with that player. I think when DJ got there, he might have already had 1 or 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards already. I think DJ mentioned that. So he already was winning these awards, and he was already dominant, and he already had, what do you have in his second year, like damn near 20 sacks, I'm pretty sure, J.J. Watt. So he's always been that dude. Now, Aiden, obviously the start has been impressive. And I'm sure Jags fans think every day about how they had the opportunity to have this cat on their team and absolutely fumbled it. But I'll tell you this, Aiden Hutchinson, he is right now one of the most dominant defensive players in the league. Now, there's guys you would put in that class with him. I mean, we always say, like, our Defensive Player of the Year, we still predict and still believe it's going to be TJ Watt. But the fact that Aiden is even in that class right now of, like, productive edge rushers or productive pass rushers is special. I mean, he's in his third year. Look at the guys in his class right now. Kayvon Thibodeau, who was MIA. Giants fans have been looking for him the last couple of games, and he just popped up out of nowhere against the Cowboys and made a couple plays. Like, completely MIA this season. That's what I hear all from Giants fans. Trayvon Walker, where is he? Where is he? I don't know where he is. And I don't hear his name. I don't hear him posted. I don't hear him raved about. Those are the two guys that were taken right with Hutch. Those are the guys that were in that conversation. So to look back at that draft class, the fact that Aiden even fell to 2 is just, it does not make sense at all. Like, this dude is special. And the fact that this year you're seeing, because remember when he first got into the league, it was like, his bag of pass rush moves, not very deep. His bag this, bag that. Now he's hitting guys he has the spin move, and you could see it like Baldy just breaking down what he can do against these tackles. Like Paris Johnson, very good tackle, made him look like an idiot just there, and even though he's facing right tackles. So even if you want to bring up, well, he's going against backup tackles, he just made Paris Johnson look like a complete idiot. Now, I said this to Booner, I'm excited for him to get against these top tackle matchups where you get to see great on great. You're seeing it with wide receivers and corners, and I think it's centers and defensive tackles. Like, once you see Aiden start excelling in those matchups, and it's not his fault. I mean, he just hasn't had too many opportunities, and he will. Then you're going to look at him in a whole different light. Like, okay, this guy now is one of the best. Doesn't matter who he's facing. So and that's something that you look at with other guys. Like, it didn't matter who JJ Watt was up against. It didn't matter who TJ Watt is up against. I think Aiden's like ascending to that point. So he's still got a lot of room to grow, even though he's leading the league in sacks. But that's a special man right there. I'll tell you that. And in his draft class, all those other edge rushers, even if Trayvon had double-digit sacks last year, it doesn't. The player he is, the motor, he's playing every snap, just different. And he has more interceptions than all those guys combined, which is wild. So, special player.
Listen, with the whole Hutch thing, it was all it's been, and I think a lot of people, at least like most people, knew what his talent was. Like, you knew what it was coming out of college, and like the Jags to pass on Aiden Hutchinson and leave him for the Detroit Lions, the hometown team, and everything. Like, it's unbelievable. First of all, that happened. But this is a guy who's for the rest of his career, for the next 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, he is going to be on that level to where every year you go in saying, yep, he can go win a Defensive Player of the Year award every single year after year after year. Like, if he gets one done this year over TJ Watt, guys, he's going to be a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner. Like, this is what, year 3 for him? Year 4? I think it's year 3, right? I want to make sure I'm right.
Yes, year 3.
So, like, he's already in year 3, and he's already one of the front runners for Defensive Player of the Year. And he hasn't even cracked, like Dan Campbell coming out a couple weeks ago and being like, he hasn't even cracked his potential yet. Like, he still has a whole nother level to tap into. Like, that's what's crazy to me, is Hutch is on that level. Do you guys remember the longest where people are like, he just has a spin move? Or was it just a spin move that he had? I think that was all people
he had one move.
And that was it. And now you look at like a Baldy breakdown, you're in the fourth quarter there, and he gets a sack, and he hits a spin move, and Baldy's like, this is the first spin move he's hit all game. Like, this guy has so many moves now, and his bag is so deep now to where he doesn't even have to use his one-trick pony of a move all game long. He doesn't have to. Like, he's that good at his job. And he's literally, guys, he's one of the best in the league. We've had the conversation all offseason long. That, like, is Hutch going to get into that tier 1 of edge rushers? I know it's only through 4 weeks or 3 weeks right now, but I think it's fair to say when he's healthy and he's out there and he's at his best, he is now in the tier 1 of pass rushers. Like, there's no question behind it. He has passed up all of these other people. He has gone past the Josh Allens, the Trey Hendrickson. If you're building a team right now and you're like, hey, who do I want? Give me Aiden Hutchinson. And I think everyone knows that now. And he has finally, like, showed the world his moves and what he's about and how all this hard work is paying off. And the Lions have him for – I hope he's in Detroit Lions uniform forever. I hope he retires a Detroit Lion because he's going to be an absolute menace in his career for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't need to add more to what you boys just said. I mean, I thought you cooked. So very well said. Very well.
You know, Micah. Hey, I want to
The Micah thing too. Yeah,
he went down. That's
Micah
one
did.
more candidate. I'm telling you, Booner.
Micah was never a candidate. I was never worried about.
Well, that's
Micah
a guy,
first.
one of the best. That's like the
That's
class.
in that tier.
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah,
So he's
that's
out
fair.
for a couple weeks. Like even if he
Max
went on
Crosby's
the
out
all-time
this week.
streak, yeah, it's gonna hurt him for sure. And by the way, we'll get to that later. But Cowboys are out 2 potential edge rushers. We'll get to that another time.
For the week we play them, which is crazy. It is crazy. Like when after this Monday game, where we have a full week of a bye week. Like I can't believe that's already coming up. I do like the Micah thing. I think right now the Defensive Player of the Year award, and it's going to be this the whole year. It's literally just DJ Watt and Aiden Hutchinson. Like that's the award. And I don't know unless there's knock on wood. Like if TJ Watt or someone gets injured, like it's those two, and it's theirs to lose.
Maybe
and they're
Fred
just going
Warner, possibly because that.
I don't. Yeah,
I'm just thinking of like candidates, like guys that could be in the top 5.
Who?
Fred Warner, because he's having a hell of a season.
I'm saying, God, there's. I don't know. I think that's just like.
I think Hutch is above him. I'm just saying, like if Fred Warner were to have a monster week, like I could see him going up like to like.
Those are the only candidates, probably. I would say.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I still
Garrett.
think like I think that's like a good way to be like they're. But I'm not saying just like who can win it. I'm saying these two guys are going to take it and they're running with it, and no one's catching them. Like like at the end of the year, it's either going to be TJ Watt or Aiden Hutchinson. And that's it. There's no one else that's going to be close. I'm just saying what it is. Like if you look at the odds, like it's just Aiden Hutchinson or TJ Watt and Aiden Hutchinson, and that's it. And then the rest are all dropped off. Like let me pull it up. Let's pull it up real quick.
I mean, do you? And shout out to Brian Nemhauser who joined yesterday, the Seahawks credentialed journalist. He mentioned something that we've never really talked about too much, and maybe we could talk about it now because it relates to this. It was interesting to get his perspective as a guy who covers the sea, like no bias, like just looking at the Lions. And I know some people didn't like what he had to say. I get that, but he said Aiden having 6.5 sacks and the significant drop off to the next player, he said is kind of concerning. Like if he was looking at it from a Lions fan's perspective, I guess for me, it's. If you watch the first couple of games, even though Aiden has more sacks by far than anyone else, number one, that's a good thing because Aiden's just that dominant. But number two, when you watch these games, it's not like it's just Aiden getting there. It's multiple guys getting there, but Aiden getting the sack. Like I think you need context in that argument when you just see the stats and you're like, well, Aiden has 6.5 and the next guy has a half a sack or whatever. Yeah. When you watch these games, like Aiden had sacks against the Bucs, all the sacks he had. Levi was there on one; he got a half a sack, but Levi was there on another. Aleem was there, close on another. Davenport didn't play, but they had other guys involved that were close. So that's why I wanted to add some of that context. But what do you guys make of that comment? Aiden's he's like 6.5, and then there's a significant drop off. Like there's concern there.
Yeah, I think with the depth, it's tough. Like, I think that's obvious. Like, the Levi always been kind of a productive guy, maybe not the sacks wise. Like, Aleem McNeil, we talked about him getting 7 and 8 this year. He hasn't even gotten a sack yet, or even a half a sack. And James Houston hasn't contributed. He's played in 1 game. Josh Paschal, like, there really hasn't been any other guys. I will say, I think there's a little difference with, like, the production when it comes to sacks, and then as well as like with the pressures and like, hey, if you're watching the game, how does it feel like they're doing up against the quarterback? Because I personally, I don't know where you guys or is the people in the chat, like whoever's listening right now, how you felt about the pass rush versus Kyler Murray. I did think they were good. Like I thought the pass rush looked good. Whether they didn't get a ton of sacks or not, I think you can still be effective and affect the game in a very, very positive way without the stat sheet showing that. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I think guys need to step up, but
statistically, who gives a fuck? If you're looking at them and you're looking at how this defensive line's playing, especially against the run, like I don't think you can even question it right now. The best run defense in the NFL. So defensive line, check. Getting after the quarterback. Like, yeah, they might not be putting as many sacks as people might be looking when you talk about like statistically ranking among the rest of the NFL. But if you just watch this defensive line, quarterbacks are not just sitting in the pocket all day like they used to be. Like even guys like Kyler Murray, who he would last year against that defense, Kyler Murray, if he was playing how he was against that game, would have lit that defense up. Kyler Murray was uncomfortable the whole game, and they're making quarterbacks play one-dimensional and just check downs. So, yeah, they're not going to be getting as much sacks when they're just taking short little gains and not holding onto the ball as long. So this defense right now is playing fine. Who cares what the stats say? Like, that's why, like, sometimes the stats, they don't tell the full story. And I think that's a classic example of one.
Yeah, I've been a bigger advocate of getting an edge, and that still stands. But to your guys' point, like when you watch the games, it doesn't tell, like the stats don't tell the full story. I feel like I know they've been getting a good push to at least generate some pressure. Now, the biggest question I have is what Josh Paschal looks like, which I guess will be like a good transition for us to kind of get in. Yeah, go on.
I just want to throw it because the odds for Defensive Player of the Year: TJ Watt plus 200, Aiden Hutchinson plus 340, and then massive gap, Myles Garrett plus 1,600, and then Max Crosby plus 1,600, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Will Anderson, Chris Jones, Danielle Hunter. Like, there is, and those guys like Danielle Hunter plus 4,000, and then it's Jonathan Greenard. It's plus 6,000. Like, there's
Jonathan Greenard.
There's a massive. I mean, there's like a huge gap from TJ Watt and Aiden Hutchinson to anyone else. Like, it's like those two guys are running a mile. Like, it's like a 2 mile long race, and they're like 4 laps ahead. Right, they're a whole mile ahead, and they're like breaking the world record for a marathon. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think, like, especially after last year, like I feel like for Myles Garrett, at least, there's going to be a bad narrative around him getting Defensive Player of the Year after last season, where I think a lot of people can objectively say, like, TJ Watt was the best defensive player last year. TJ Watt should have won it last year. Myles Garrett only had 13 sacks, and he plays on a good defensive line with Jim Schwartz, who was Associate of the Year coach-wise. So I don't think Myles Garrett has any chance of getting it this year if a guy like Aiden Hutchinson is playing the way that he does.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. Again, guys, like for the Hutchinson, he will be in the race till the end. It's just my whole point was I don't think he wins it this year, but he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. You know, and why not this year? He'll be in the race, so I don't hate anyone who says he will.
Yeah.
I just think TJ Watt's been due for one. But so was Aiden now in his 3rd year. So
Aiden's there now.
Yep, it'll be a good matchup. By the way, that was brought to you guys by BetUS. But I mentioned
shout out BetUS. Go get some Defensive Player of the Year odds on BetUS. Go ahead.
There you go. I got
Aiden Hutchinson bet in.
And also I think a big part of that, Josh Paschal now seeing how this defensive line looks, that's where I'm gonna really, not that Davenport was like Judon level that I wanted, but I think not having Davenport and AG did speak about like the difference, and shout out to the doc for asking him that question, is like, you know, what's the difference between the two? And I'm gonna play the clip here of AG kind of explaining his opinion on it. And why those two players are different, because one guy, Davenport, he's big, you know, he's not someone that is like super technically sound, but he's a better pure pass rusher than Josh Paschal. Let's listen to AG and get kind of his thoughts on what his role will look like and his confidence level in Josh Paschal. But let's hear from AG.
Pass rush than Marcus.
Got it. Where they're two totally different people and body types. But the one thing I do think that they're similar, they both are able to rush with power. Obviously, Davenport's a longer guy, so he has a couple more tools he can use than Paschal, but Paschal is more like squatty to the ground, so he's able to use his spin moves and things like that to win. So, but they both have advantages between each other that they can go out there and be successful.
Yeah, and again, they believe in Josh. I get that. And Josh, I believed in Josh. All right, I believed in this man.
That was your guy. You went to war for him. You went up to bat for him a couple of times.
I did. I do, and I still think Josh he's a fine rotational piece. He's good against the run. You know, he's kind of that tweener build where, you know, he's not a guy that's like a pure pass rusher, but he can clean up a play if he's in the right position. Like, he's kind of a guy you want as like a good role player. I don't know what to expect out of him in this bigger role. I know they always talk about, well, the guys that are in the rotation prepare like the starters. You know, the backups prepare like the starters. I think if Josh was who we thought Josh would be, he would, you know, they wouldn't bring in Davenport. They wouldn't bring in DJ Reader. They wouldn't bring, you know, even though you always want to get better. But I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on how Josh Paschal is going to look. That's where I'm at. I don't have, even for me, who believed in this man, I am still skeptical on if he can fill that role. Like I just do.
Yeah.
Not that Davenport is this incredible pass rusher, guys. It's just like you just know what he is. Davenport's going to get you a couple pressures. He's capable. He's done it in the past. Josh hasn't really done any. Like he's just kind of there. All due respect, he's just fine. And I don't know if fine will be good enough. Like I hope Houston can return back to form and get the coaching staff to trust him. Like again, he has to like re-earn the trust. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like trust circle, I'm a little concerned. I am. Like Aiden's gonna have to have a big game against the Seahawks. Huge game.
I mean, I think it's very fair because when you look at it, I think it's a two-part problem. Where you feel confident with Josh Paschal being out there is when they run a 5-man front, where you could have somebody else on the edge, either setting the edge or getting to the quarterback, and that guy would have been Derek Barnes. So when you talk about Josh Paschal having to be out there on his own on like a 4-man front, just like a typical 4-3, you're not very comfortable with that. I think Josh is a guy that's good to hold the fort down for like a week or two, because there's a lot of teams that are going to have their defensive end going down. So this is a situation a lot of teams are going to face. But just the way he plays, like, I don't think it's a great fit for what Aaron Glenn wants to do, which is stay in 4-3. So have him play that spot, but you have to find somebody. If you want to have this defense be taken seriously as far as a Super Bowl contender, I think you have to bring somebody in. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm starting to get over, like, they're probably not going to bring someone in, like, instantly. So, like, let's just talk, like, Monday here. Josh, I'm interested to see what happens with Josh Paschal Monday. Like, to AG's point there, AG, before that part of the video, when the doc asked him about comparing him to Marcus Davenport, they asked AG as well, no, actually, I'm going to say they didn't even ask him. It was in his opening statement, how he comes in and does an opening statement. And he's talking about the defense. And he brings up the injuries on the defensive line, essentially, with as well, if you would count Derek Barnes and also counting Marcus Davenport. And he goes, I'll just be honest with you guys. Josh Paschal has to step up. Like, that's like when AG comes out and literally just word for word, Josh Paschal has to step up today or this week. Like, this is up on him. Like, he's going to be the guy on the edge. I mean, obviously Levi O is going to get run, but we need someone to step up. It needs to be Josh Paschal. Like, and you know what he can be. And that's the frustrating thing with a guy like him. It was like that forever with Levi, but with Levi, it was more so injury to where we never got to see him healthy. But like Josh, it's like, all right, we know what you are when you're like fully a go and like you're at your best and you can go out there and dominate. So it's like, we need that out of you. And I think like there are these things like as Hutch gets better, adding the DJ Reader, the Aleem should be good to go. As you add those guys, maybe it gets easier for Josh Paschal. And like in years past, instead of having those guys around him, he's had like the Aquara brothers and has had like Charles Harris and like these random guys who haven't been able to go out there and produce. So now I think a little bit more, okay, this is a good spot for Josh. Let's see what he can do. This is like a big test for him because there are guys, and Big M just put it in the chat, there are guys knocking on the door behind him with Mekhi Wingo being like, hey, I want reps. And I want reps now. And like we saw Mekhi get like 14 snaps last week. So like guys are going to start getting more snaps. And if Josh doesn't step up, next man up. But you do need to see that from him.
He's okay. So I'll say this. AG, and he spoke about it too, like him being injury free. He said, quote, he's been able to play for us because we do know there's growth there. So the more that he plays, the more that he's going to grow. So I'm excited about seeing that player go out there. He always says that player, which is funny. Go out there on a day-to-day, down-to-down, and be able to improve and play for us. So the injury-free thing is key. I know he's been dealing with injuries, and maybe the Levi stuff got us a little, we were very down on Levi, and I think to some extent rightfully so. But then he bounced back. So like now everyone's like, well, maybe it was just he was dealing with injuries. I really do hope that's the thing with Josh Paschal. I really do. I hope it's injuries that have been holding him back. Because Davenport went down. He didn't play against the Bucs. Paschal played like 18 snaps, and Aiden had like 4.5 sacks. So he played very well. It didn't really matter. The defensive line, Lee McNeil and DJ Reader, they played pretty well, and they kind of were able to get by without Davenport. So it's not like Davenport's just like, off the charts player that just affects the game. But my point is like to have Aiden, Aleem, and DJ are going to have to have that type of similar game unless Josh just steps up. I think Josh is fine. I'm not saying he's bad. ideally, I think we all in our heads think of like a defensive line with Aiden and someone on the other side that can just cause havoc as well. And we just think of what it could be. And when we see Josh Paschal, it's like he maybe doesn't fit that image in our head. Like that's why people mention Trey Hendrickson, or I had Matthew Judon. So it's something to watch. I think Josh's play is something like all Lions fans should be keyed in on. We'll be watching it when we do the watch party. Like that's, to me, one of the bigger storylines is how does he look? How does he affect the game? Because like I said, 18 snaps when Davenport was out, like they like what he showed, but it is. I'm not trying to write the narrative now, but it's something that I'm a little skeptical about. Like where are you guys? I mean, I know this is your skepticism with it. I mean, how much belief you got in Josh to go out there and make some plays?
I would say it's like 50%. Like, all right, I'll give it a little more, like 65%, because I know he can do. Like, I've seen Josh Paschal, Paschal, and like, I'm so bad with names. Like, people hate me for that. I'm so bad with names, but people have seen Josh in those situations. Like, you've seen him make plays. That's why it's so frustrating with some guys, where it's like, dude, we know you can make those plays. AG like vouches and it's like, I know Josh can do this. I know, like. Dan Campbell, I know he can do this. It's like, just like, we need it consistently. And I think like Monday night, I'm not saying it's make or break for his career, but no. He's at that same point though, where with Levi O a little bit, to where like he did produce a little bit last year when he played like in the NFC Championship game and those playoff games. He was out there giving you some good snaps. But when you're talking about a guy to take a step forward, like, hey, can we have him heavy in the rotation and trust and sit back and be like, we can really trust Josh Paschal? This is one of those games where he has to prove it. Like, I think it's a big game, not just for him as a Detroit Lion, but like in his career, to be able to say like, hey, I'm still a second round draft pick. I'm still a guy who can go out there and produce. Like, I'm still a guy that can give you something on a nightly basis. And that's where I do think it's like with him is like Monday night's a big game for him. Like if AG opens up his press conference talking about the defense, and one of the only players he mentions is, hey, we have 2 injuries on the edge. Josh Paschal, time to step up. We need to see him. Like if your defensive coordinator is saying that, this is a not make or break maybe, but it's a make or almost break for you. Like this is your time to shine, and if you don't shine, just know that they're developing guys in the background with Mekhi Wingo. They'll probably have some guys on the practice squad, or if they don't feel comfortable with what Josh Paschal looks like on Monday night, hey, Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson, what are we thinking? Quick. And I think that's that's where the test is. That's why we haven't seen anyone get brought in yet, because they want to see what they have in-house.
Yeah. I mean, to Booner's point, like I think he'll make plays like he did in the NFC Championship game, but he's not going to be a guy that, and I think most Lions fans already know that, he's not going to be getting after the quarterback. And I mean, there's not many guys that are power pass rushers that have success consistently that are built at his height. And I just think it's one of those things where he's just going to be one of those guys that he's going to be very solid against the run. And I think that's why I really don't have any issue with him being out there this week, because I think he'll be able to hold his own as overall in totality. But as far as being a difference maker, I don't think that's what he's going to be.
Now, I'll mention another matchup that I think is very important, and I think this player, to me, is another guy that's going to be in the spotlight. Carlton Davis against DK Metcalf, I think is not only one of the most important matchups on defense, but I do. When Carlton was brought in, when Brad traded for Carlton Davis, I think in our minds, we understood that he isn't a lockdown corner, which there's not too many in today's NFL. It's these guys already are at a disadvantage. But Carlton was someone that we knew had it in him to slow guys down. That's what at least I had in my mind. I'm like, okay, he can slow some guys down. The Jamar Chase game that everyone talks about. I mean, Carlton so far this year has not looked good. He just has not, objectively. He's been good against the run. He's a good tackler. But in coverage, he is not. And I think this week is an opportunity for him. It's still early. So, again, I'm not trying to write the narrative. I'm just bringing up another concern of mine and a matchup to watch. Because I had him on my impact players last week or 2 weeks ago. And he disappointed me a little bit. I think Carlton against DK is an opportunity for him. And of course, the defensive line getting home helps. It does. But when you look up all the data, like he's allowing a pretty high completion percentage, and he's not necessarily, shutting guys down. I think it's just important. It's just an important matchup to watch this week. I'm not saying hold DK to 5 yards, but what I'm saying is DK is going to he's going to go out there. Gino's going to get him involved to where they're going to expect DK to make some big plays. Okay. And I think the Lions, you have Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. You're definitely going to have to put a safety over the top, which is why I think Kirby gets a pick this week. But what do you guys think of the DK and Carlton Davis matchup and your confidence in this secondary, or specifically Carlton Davis in this instance?
I mean, it's one of those things where DK Metcalf is going to be DK Metcalf, but I think Carlton Davis is going to do enough to limit him just based off, like, we remembered in the offseason when the Lions signed him, like guys like Jamar Chase. We're talking about Carlton Davis being one of the best corners in the NFL that does not get talked about just because what he can do against true number ones. And you look at Cam Sutton last year compared to Carlton Davis, that's an upgrade. So I don't think Carlton Davis is a guy that's going to be a bona fide CB1 for this team at all during the season, but he's going to be a solid CB2, that type of tier player. And when you have elite safety play behind them, he's just got to be able to keep the guy in front of him and pass him off and communicate. And I just think he's going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to shut him down like you said, Jeff, but he is going to be able to have plays where he can win the matchup. And I don't think it's a bad decision at all to think that he might be able to get an interception this game, because I think Gino and DK, they know that they go off against the Lions. So Gino's going to force feed the ball to them, especially when they can't get the run game going. And there's going to be opportunities for Carlton to make plays, because I think that Gino is not really used to this Detroit Lions defense playing the way that it is. So all the rhythm that he's been having and the chemistry with his receivers, how it just seemed effortless for that offense to get down the field in the past, it's not going to be there. He's going to have to make quicker decisions, and I think that's going to lead to more inaccurate throws, and that can lead to plays where Carlton can make a difference. Is he going to be consistently and like a guarantee type of thing? No. But he has a chance against DK Metcalf in a favorable matchup as far as how he matches up with him compared to other wide receivers. He does better against bigger wide receivers. Go make a play, turn the narrative on the season, turn the page, and show that, at least in coverage, because he's been good against the run, that you're going to be every bit of what the Detroit Lions traded you for, because Terrion Arnold right now, arguably, and I don't even think it's an argument to make, has been better in coverage. So that you're going up against DK Metcalf, show that you're the NFL vet that won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. You had to go up against Cooper Kupp, those type of guys in that path. And I think he has the experience, so there's no reason why he can't put a game together, especially when the team and him both know that they need it this week.
Hey, Carlton Davis is going to be just fine. His specialty is big body receivers to go out there and slow these guys down. Little press coverage, just beat this man up a little bit. You know what I mean? Don't let DK go out there and give you – no, he had 100 – what was it? What did I say? 140 last year or whatever it was, or 2 years ago, 140 and 70 last year. There's no – like DK's – I don't care if he's in the best shape or if he's playing the best football. No. Like – Carlton Davis, he's getting better and better each week. I know I've seen stats on the internet of him, his yardages he's given up, his quarterback rating versus him. I've seen all of this, but listen, like Carlton Davis he's not a scrub. He's not a scrub. As the season goes on, he's going to keep getting better and better. He's in a new system. You got to think he's been in Tampa Bay. Like the year before, he's been in Tampa Bay with Todd Bowles for a couple years now. One great defense. Now he's in a little bit of a newer system with AG trying to figure things out. He's as well at the same time of him doing his position. He's mentoring a rookie cornerback in Terrion Arnold on the other side, and he's teaching him everything, not just in practice, but you see the videos and the behind-the-scene videos and mic'd up videos of the game of him literally the whole game on the sideline, all of that, talking with Terrion Arnold and helping him through everything. So he has both of those going on. Yeah, you still have to do your job, but he's slowly getting into things here. And I think like this is a good matchup for him to go out there and try and dominate versus DK, like set a little bit of a tone, you know, like show the people like, hey, we are here. And because that has been I think the defensive line's been a very, very positive thing. The linebacking crew, even with no Anzo, has been very positive. The safety room has been extremely positive. I would say the only question, and I don't even think it's a question because I believe in them, but I think like the bigger question on this defense for them to even get better from go to top 10 to top 5 is like, hey, Carlton and Davis, Terrion Arnold, like how do these guys look? Like, are they going to be able to step up against big time receivers? And they've given up some yards to some guys already. But if they could step up and he ends up turning around here a little bit and he starts, he dominates DK Metcalf on Monday night, That's where I think a little bit of the advantage. And then you go into the next in 2 weeks for CeeDee Lamb and you start building confidence and like, all right, here we go. Now we're in a full swing of things. But I think Terrion's going to be fine on Monday night. Like, guys, and he's going to give up yards. It's DK Metcalf. And it's the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. Like, welcome to the NFL. Like, some of these wide receiver ones around the NFL, a top 10 wide receiver, they're going to give up, like, they're going to get yards. But it's like, how much do you limit them? Like, what are you doing to limit them? Are you giving up big plays on them, or are you just giving up chunk plays and making the tackle? Or, do you have a couple bash breakups on third downs? Like, how does that look? So that's where I'm kind of looking forward to with that matchup there. I think that's a big matchup, Jeff. Like, DK versus Carlton, that's a huge matchup. Like, massive. That's the one positive thing we've talked about with Carlton. Stephen Shea from the Bucks kept telling us, and he texted me about it, like, big wide receivers. And it's like, all right, we look at our schedule, the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s, or the Marvin Harrison, the Justin Jeffersons, the DK Metcalfs, the Mike Evans. Like, those are the ones that's why we brought Carlton Davis in, is to get those stops.
Yeah, and my whole point is Carlton a bad player? No, absolutely not. I just look at what Carlton's been his career. I mean, just go off last year with the Buccaneers, and maybe it is slow start. I'm not saying that isn't out of the realm of possibilities, but last year he was allowing, I guess if you look at last year, 60% completion percentage allowed, but a 75.1 passer rating allowed when targeted. This is last year. No touchdowns allowed in man coverage. Then you go to this year, and that 60% completion percentage is now 78. And you look at the passer rating, it was 75.1 last year. It's 130 plus now. So it's just a start. That's all. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's been fine, but it's just something to keep an eye on. I think this week specifically because of DK and how much this offense relies on him, it's something to keep an eye on. And I think the point we always make about Carlton being better against bigger receivers, I think this week against DK Metcalf, who, maybe not the most technically sound guy, but a gifted athlete, it's definitely something to watch. Because they're going to feed DK the ball. They've been doing that all year. That's how this offense runs. And again, to Wilson's point, you're comparing a whole season to 3 games. No, I know. I just said that. I think it could be a slow start. I'm not saying this is the story's already written. It's just something to keep an eye on. Like, the 3 games, these numbers, keep an eye on them. Hopefully they go down and continue to go down as the secondary continues to gel. So that's all I'm bringing up. It's an important matchup, DK versus Carlton Davis. And I am with you, Boone. I think this week is a good opportunity for him to, not that the guy's been like Jeff Okudah level, but a good opportunity for him to get back to that. Not just last year, but really his whole career with the Bucs. He was
and one thing with that, like Devontae Adams said, it was interesting. I can't remember. I think he might have been on the Kay Adams show. But I think he had mentioned in a clip that I saw with that, is they were asking, like, hey, why are offenses around the NFL so slow to start right now? And why are defenses the ones that's dominating the first 3 weeks? And he had mentioned, he was like, it's because there's so, like, he said he doesn't know the exact reason, but in his mind, it's because there's so much turnover when it comes to OCs and players and coaches and position coaches constantly moving offensively. And I think he's right. And that was like offensively. I know we're not talking offense right now, but like offensively, you got to think like that was why I was so confused with why Ben Johnson and this offense is struggling. It's because they haven't had that. But like defensively, I know AG's been here, but like Carlton Davis is new. Like, this is new for him. So like when you look at a guy struggling in the first 2 or 3 weeks of his season, and he's like new on a team, especially a defense that's still trying to find an identity that really hasn't for the last 2 or 3 years, and they've been looking for guys, and you're going through the Jeff Okudah, Cam Sutton, and then now you have Carlton Davis. It's gonna take time. And that's where I think, like, I do see these tweets of some people going at Carlton, and then there are a lot of people who are sticking up for Carlton, being like, listen, it's week 3. And then that's where, for me, I'm on the side of let's give it some time here. You're in the NFL. Yeah. Corner is probably the toughest position in football, especially in today's football, because the guys are going up against week after week. Like, the matchups that man has already have versus Marvin Harrison, versus Mike Evans, week 1 for a little bit with Cooper Kupp. And then now it's DK Metcalf. Like, this guy has been going through a gauntlet. And then the week he comes back from bye week, all right, CeeDee Lamb. Like, this isn't easy. And like, obviously he's not like a Sauce Gardner or one of those guys, but like, let this man get into the defense.
Top 15 corner. That's
yeah, like let him get a feel with AG, get a feel with Terrion, we get a feel for this defense, and probably more lingo and different audibles and different things that he's still trying to learn. Once he gets it, this man's a pro. I'm not worried, to be honest, with Carlton.
Yeah, you could chalk it up to new system early in the season. Like, again, I think that's all fair points. You know, I'm just saying it's something to watch. Now, I guess if you want to get into it, some keys to victory for the Detroit Lions, you can give me a couple. You can give me 1, 2, 3, whatever, that you absolutely need to see on Monday night in order for them to come out victorious. And you could start first, Lucas. By the way, this is also brought to you guys by BetUS. But Lucas, take it away. What do you think? Oh, your mic's muted, but then you can go.
My fault. I didn't want the background. I was going. I know
you're good, baby.
Going on. Either way, I sent it to Jeff. If you want to pull that up, the tweet that I just sent in the
I got you.
But offensively, I don't think the Detroit Lions find it this week. I still think they don't look the same. I think a huge part of that is with Frank Ragnow being out. And what does this Detroit Lions offense thrive off of? Yards after catch, yards after contact. And when you get that up, Jeff, we're going to see Seattle's defense, especially in the secondary. In the open field, they do not miss tackles. Julian Love, Rayshawn Jenkins. Rayshawn Jenkins is one of the more underrated safeties in football. When he was in Jacksonville, that dude was a menace and a turnover machine. So, I mean, if you just watch on all these plays, I understand it's Bo Nix. I understand it's week 1. But just look how quick they recognize the play. And, like, this is Julian Love that makes a tackle here. They set the tone defensively. This is a physical defense. David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, if he's out there, they have to be able to break yards after contact and get yards without that. Because I think without Frank Ragnow, the average yard per play with this offense is going to drop a little bit. So they have to find a way to get back with that. And I think a huge part of it is being able to break tackles and just create plays. You can't just rely on taking a hit and going out of bounds and relying on this defense to keep carrying you. I do think, to your guys' point, the offense does need to step up. It's a huge part of this game, but I think it's a defensive game because the Detroit Lions play defense exactly like this. And I honestly think overall, Seattle's defense is probably playing better football right now because these players have been playing together for a little bit longer together. I know Mike McDonald's a new defensive coordinator or defensive coach there, but these guys have been playing a little bit of good football together. So when you look at the secondary, they've got to be able to expose them. I think with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, after they break through that front 7, which I think is going to happen frequently, you have to find a way to expose the secondary because in coverage, they're going to be very good. Secondly, that's all we really need with these, Jeff. I just kind of want to show that secondary tackles very well. Jared Goff, he has to be under, in my opinion, 25 pass attempts because you have to keep this on the ground of the secondary that we were just talking about. But I don't think he plays a clean game just because there's going to be a lot of pressure. They're going to send Jerome Baker. They're going to send some of these secondary players. And I think just up front with their front 7, I know they're dealing with injuries, but this Lions offensive line has gave up pressure regardless who they're going up against. I mean, Booner and I kind of got in an argument about it week 1. Like the Rams, I was like, Jared Goff is not going to get touched. He's going to be walking out there with a white jersey. And they struggled week 1 against that pass rusher with Seattle. I definitely think there's a chance that they struggle. And then finally, defensively, nothing deep like they have been. If you keep DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN had a huge touchdown late against New England that was deep to kind of seal that game and send it to overtime. If you keep all 3 of those guys in front of you, you win this game because it's going to look like how Kyler Murray was last week. He's going to keep forcing the ball down the field with Geno Smith, obviously. And Kirby, Brian Branch, the strength of that defense right now outside of Hutch, can make plays. If you're able to do that, you win this game, in my opinion.
Love it. What about you, Boone? Where are you at with everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's one obvious way here to win this football game. And I think it comes down to your identity of this football team. Like the biggest key to victory is get your identity. Like number one thing. And the identity is, like, I think yesterday I've said it before. I think the defense is going to be just fine. I think they're going to hold them under 20. I think that's all going to happen. I think it comes down to establishing the run, play your identity and play your football. Get your offense going. Ben Johnson talked about it today that last week, the one thing they really emphasized in the first half was pounding the rock. Like, our identity is running the ball. And that was what they emphasized in the first half last week. And look what they did. And he said in the second half, we went away from it a little bit. And he was like, we just missed a couple plays and we would have been just fine last week. And it wouldn't have looked as bad as it did. So, like, I think that's going to be their mindset. And I think it does. Like, Last week, they gave up 65 rushing yards, but if you go up the week before versus New England just pounded the rock on them and ran for it all day on them, had 185 rushing yards, and they won 23-20. Like, they dominated in the run game there. They dominated. The Lions are a way better rush team than the New England Patriots. They have a better up front. Even with Frank Ragnow out, They should be able to dominate that. And guess what? A lot of this defensive line is injured. Like we've seen the practice reports. A lot of those guys, Byron Murphy, I'm drawing a blank on some of these guys. Boyamafe, those guys didn't even practice this week. I don't know if they did.
Leonard Williams, another one.
Leonard Williams, like these guys are out. Like I don't know if they're going to play, but like yesterday's practice report, they were out. Today, I haven't seen today's practice report. My guess is either they're out or limited. So like you can take advantage of this defense. And it's like, how are you going to win this football game? You pound the rock right down the middle. Do what you're good at. You have David Montgomery for a reason. You have Jahmyr Gibbs for a reason. I know we want to get some of these other guys involved, but guess what wins you football games in this Detroit Lions team? It's just handing the ball off and going straight up the best offensive line in football, even without Frank Ragnow. That's the biggest key to me, is if they can go and hold it down and do that, they're going to win this game by a touchdown. They're going to go in there and it's going to be a comfortable win. And I guarantee you guys that. Like they played Denver, gave up almost 100 yards to Denver. Like I just look at this New England game. Like that just stands out on paper to me. And then especially if they have a beat up defensive line, that's tough. Like that is tough. I don't see how the Seahawks defensive line and defense can stop David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in that front five if they have all those guys out. So the run game, that's like the biggest key to victory to me. Montgomery.
No,
I don't really care, to be honest. Just run the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you guys both. I mean, I think you guys both kind of nailed some of the keys. I mean, you cannot deny no Byron Murphy, who is a rookie but still very good. No Leonard Williams. The injuries they have, there is no, even without Frank. And I don't know exactly who will be filling that role. I mean, I don't think we've heard the answer yet. Could be wrong. But they have to pound the rock. Like, and again, you want to avoid some of these shootouts. Not that their defense will be giving up all these points, but and to Derek's point, it's a great point. Wear the defense down, but also establish time. Just dominate time of possession. Control the game. Once you have these long length, not that every drive should be milked. I'm not saying that. If you have a big play, take it. I'm not, But my point being, keep the Seattle offense off the field, huh? How about you do your defense a favor? You've seen games. We've seen games. I mean, the Cardinals game in the second half. It's like the defense, and God bless them, because the offense 3-and-out, and the defense comes right back out on the field. Like, even a good defense, like, you're going to wear these guys down. And you could see it with Aiden playing every damn snap they get. You can see he's tired. He's still obviously playing very well. But to help these guys out, let's run the ball. All right, run the ball. And how, again, for this secondary, wear them out. Make them tackle you running the football. I mean, these guys want you to throw the football. Devon Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Julian Love. These guys, they want Jared to put the ball in the air, of course they do. They want to take the ball away. Not saying the Lions won't do that, but I like staying under 30 pass attempts. It's just it's what the Lions do so well. They did it so many times last year where Jared, there'll be games where he's efficient and he doesn't have to throw the ball 50 times to win. Like, you definitely don't want to throw the ball 50 times against this secondary, arguably the best secondary in the NFL. So for the key to victory, run the ball. Dominate time of possession, keep the Seattle offense off the field, and then defensively, I mean, it's quite simple. You got to get after Geno here. I mean, you just do. And Aiden, there's going to be a lot that kind of falls on his shoulders, but I think he's good enough to handle it, great enough to handle it. But this week, he's got to have another monster game. Maybe not 4.5 sacks, but he's got to just be there every play. I mean, the last time he played, different player, he's grown tremendously. But Brian brought this up yesterday. 2 backup tackles, and he didn't really get home. So it's going to be different. It's going to be so different. And by the way, Tigers just clinched a motherfucking playoff spot.
That shit is wild.
And Boone's posting on social media. Shout out to him. And I want to put this graphic up that shout out to Roman he just made. I mean, the Tigers are here. The Tigers clinched. And I want to hear. Let me get this graphic. There's a beautiful graphic here. And again, shout out to Roman for making this. The dude just makes art. But look at this. Hold on. Let me put this up for the people. I mean, come on. We got 2 playoff teams in Detroit. Lions are going to make the playoffs. So this is great news for the city. This is great news for Detroit sports fans. And obviously we couldn't watch the game. We're live. I see people in the chat talking about it. I'm excited. Playoff baseball is in Detroit, and I don't know what the tickets are going to be. I'm sure that Comerica Park's going to be absolutely packed. But now you get to play tomorrow, and you just kind of
it's going to be.
You rest during school. You go out there. Everyone's having fun. You're in the playoffs, baby. You're in the damn playoffs.
I mean, it's crazy to see. I mean, especially I went to a game at the beginning of the season, and you could just tell like the energy was just not there. Like people were there, was enjoying a nice game, but there was nothing crazy going on there. Like the Tigers were not that good, and then to see this turnaround is wild. It is one of the most remarkable things that we've seen in baseball in a long time. But I wonder now. Okay, so they clinched the playoffs. Do you think they keep the foot on the pedal, or do you think what you're saying, keep the guys healthy, keep everybody rested? Because right now it's like they're on a crazy momentum swing right now. Is there a time they have to keep it up? I think they're playing right now over their ceiling, which is a good thing to see. But I just think right now they're playing above their window, like almost how the Lions were, where it's like, okay, you're going to be good in 2024. That was the set line. But in 2023, they were really good. So the Detroit Tigers right now are ahead of schedule. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go about this last stretch of games in the regular season in order to see if they can carry that momentum into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think for me, like the win isn't what they do in the playoffs. The win for me is the Tigers being 34-16 over their last 50 games. That's the win. Like I mentioned this yesterday, I could purchase Tigers tickets, pretty good seats, for like $10, $15, $20. Like that was what this was 2 months ago. Like maybe even a little longer than that. But regardless, now you have a team that people are actually excited for. Like, and again, can they make some noise in the playoffs? I hope so. But I think the bigger win, Lucas, is what they've looked like over the last 50 and them being here and honestly, Detroit getting some playoff baseball back and over what to be about close to a decade now, since you've had they're chasing a World Series, but that's the win. It's not what they do in the playoffs. It's just being here, given what the season looked like 34-16 over the last 50 games. Credit to AJ Hinch for figuring a lot of this stuff out. And I know Jim shared the clip of, him asking AJ Hinch if he's doing a good job. Like that was an actual question that Jim Costa asked AJ Hinch. He's like, "Do you believe you're doing a good job?" Like when they were losing, and he was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Of course, I think I'm doing a good job. And then he asked him it again when he joined recently, and he's like, "How about that? You think I'm doing a good job, Jim? Like, you think I'm doing a good job?" And yeah, they're playing some good baseball. So
yeah.
And again, T-Mac, I would not want to play this team in the playoffs. They're hot. Too hot.
Yeah.
Now that's fair. They're a team that I definitely, because now the pressure's on you, not the Tigers. Like the Tigers are going into this thing. Like, yeah, you want to, look good in the playoffs and maybe steal a series or something. But
because with that bullpen,
pressure's not on the Tigers.
With that bullpen, School will probably, if Don, you don't even have to say anything about School, but how deep that bullpen is defensively, they're going to have a chance against anybody. And offensively, if they are just able to get the bats going, it doesn't even have to be as much, just 80% as much as they have been over the last this huge stretch of games. There's not many teams that can say, "Oh, we feel confident that we can just go and take down the Detroit Tigers in this opening series." Like, there's no way. Like, I don't think they're a World Series team, but they're like that team and I know we don't want to compare football, but when you talk about the teams you don't want to play in December, like that team that can just upset you in that wild card round. For example, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. If you look at it, I think the Detroit Tigers defensively, they can do whatever they want. They clinch, keep the momentum going. If they keep this rolling in the playoffs, nobody wants to see this team.
No, because and I see people putting it. Even Dave, 34-16 sounds like they got as good as a shot as anyone right now. Beginning of season means nothing right now. Dave's absolutely right. Even this comment, Big M, Tigers are living rent free. They have no expectations set on them. They can play free and easy. The pressure's on their opponent. And they have these young guys that they don't know what they don't know. Like the pressure, they're just going in there and playing some ball. They're excited. They're on top of cloud nine. Confidence is at an all-time high for just clinching a playoff spot, and they have an elite pitching staff, like Coach Walk just said. They have AJ Hinch, who has had tons of experience being in these type of moments. So they have enough. I don't want to get people. I don't want to start saying they're going to make this miraculous run. Hopefully I'm proven wrong. But we talked to Raj about it, and even Raj, like the fact that he gets to cover this baseball is just exciting. I mean, I
wonder what Raj is doing right now.
Oh, Raj is probably running around
really
naked. I mean, this dude is, and he's at the ballpark right now. Like he's there. And we're going to get Raj back on next week, and I'm going to reach out to Chris Castellani. Hopefully we can talk to him as well. I know he's on Cloud 9 as well. So, I mean, hey, Grand Rapids Adam, he says, we get to watch October baseball. I'm fucking fired up. You know what, Adam? We're with you.
Yeah, we definitely got to get to a game too.
Yeah, and to this, I love this. Dave, second team in MLB history since the 73 Mets to be 8 games under 500 at August 10th or later and make the postseason. I mean, Lucas, we talked about it on the show. They had a point. I don't even know what it was. It was a small percentage. It was like unrealistic how small this percentage was. I mean, it was when we talked about it, I think we all were pretty dismissive. We were like, yeah. I mean, show improvement. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. You needed so many cards to fall a certain way. You needed the Twins. You needed the Royals. You needed these other teams to collapse so you could make the playoffs. And it happened. I mean,
they had to go on the
you just can't. You could play as well as you can, but if those teams don't crap the bed, you don't make. I mean, it is what it is. So it is kind of it is incredible. I mean,
it's one of the craziest things, not just in baseball, just in sports. Like I have not seen this. Like it's unprecedented, at least since I've been alive. Like in any type of sports, like the comeback they've made, the turnaround that they've made just in season is crazy to see.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun talking sports, and it's even better talking sports when your teams are winning. I mean, and again, like I know for Mike, Mike loves baseball, but he loves the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings are going to be in the playoffs this year. I do. All jokes aside, I know I troll Mike a lot. But in the Pistons, we'll get to it. But there will be a time in my lifetime that the Pistons will make it 4 teams in the playoffs. All right, they will make it 4. The other 3 already are there. I mean,
Dan Campbell might be retired by that time.
Lions and Red Wings. Hopefully Dan doesn't have a gray goatee. Hopefully he's still coaching. And
Amon-Ra will be wearing a gold jacket by that time. Jameer.
Yeah, well, hold on. Okay. All right. You know what?
They might still be playing though.
Yeah, Panay's like Andrew Thomas. Like he's like 40 at that point playing. Or not Andrew Thomas, Andrew Whitworth. Yeah.
Oh
he's
my
gonna,
God. Yeah. I was like
40 playing. Yeah,
that dude won a ring too.
He did. Yeah. I said Andrew Thomas. I was watching the Giants game last night. Now Andrew Thomas got worked on one play. I forgot what it was.
But that was it though. That was the one play.
Yeah.
He put that man in a phone booth. Not gonna lie.
No.
Yeah, just like Xavier said, Red Wings winning right now too. Great Friday night for the city right now. Great Friday night.
Great night. And I know that city is turned up right now. I knew actually my mom's there. I know other people that are there downtown. We were trying to get tickets for tomorrow, and it's crazy. I mean, how fast things can change. I mean, I told this on the story yesterday, but Jalen, and Jalen, he bought tickets like a week ago for $24. Again, like you needed things to fall your way. Now those same tickets are like quadruple, if not more.
They're probably like $200.
It's crazy what a week will do. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, let's see. I want to get to some of these comments. I know people are, just a fan. These Tigers have a shot if they get to World Series. I know people. I love this, man. Let's see. Demond Dice. Detroit is no longer the worst team in MLB history, but still is the worst team in NFL history. Things are looking up. You're being a hater, Demond. You know that. You're being a hater. You're being a hater. So that comment unnecessary. Let's see. Lit Line, Dan Campbell, grid is contagious to all Detroit teams. Trey said it was a 2% chance before they went on the run. Thank you, Trey. So I couldn't remember I didn't want to get the percentage wrong because it is kind of significant. 2%.
Even like a month ago, like it wasn't anything where you were like, yeah, I mean they could, but you didn't feel confident about saying that they were.
This comment by Coach is just out of pocket. I mean, like it owes him money. Isn't what it's just saying. That is ridiculous. Coach, that is ridiculous. I think that it might be there'll be cheap tickets this weekend. I wonder how that works because they clinched. I mean, they're going to rest like Scuba not playing. So like maybe the tickets are a little cheaper. I don't know. I really don't. I hope it is. So we can go out there tomorrow.
dramatically more expensive than they were last season or at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. And we got Boone. Boone, look at you, Boone.
You guys hear me?
Can you hear you, Boone?
Yeah. Hey, Boone, Tigers, October baseball.
Hey, boys, how about it, huh? The Tigers, baby. That's unbelievable.
The Gritty Tigers.
I just posted some stuff on social, and I was just watching, like, while stuff's going up, watching the videos of the final call, of the players at the end of the game, the fans.
Just get you fired up, Boone.
Dude, it is one of the most unbelievable and best feelings in the world. Like, what are we, like, boys? I forgot. I didn't even know I had this on my desk sitting here. We're back, baby. The Tigers are fully back. It's like you're sitting here. Every single person did. No one believed. Like, there's not anyone in the chat.
No, I didn't believe, Boone.
No one did. The biggest fan in the world, Detroit Tigers fan in the world. And I think that's what's so lovely. Lovely sounds like a real weird word to say, but that's what I think is so great about sports, guys, and especially like cheering and being a fan, is you can literally go from you weren't even close. Not one person in this world probably thought the Tigers were going to make the postseason this year. And for them to go on a run, they're the best team in baseball over the last 40 games. Like, that's unbelievable. They're the hottest team in baseball right now, the best team in baseball right now. And no one wants to see the Detroit Tigers next week in the postseason. No one. I don't care if you're on the road. I don't care if you're the Yankees, the Astros, the Orioles. You do not want to see the Gritty Tigers next week come the wild card matchup. You do not. Like, you do not. This is unbelievable. I hope we get to go to the game tomorrow. I've set my whole Saturday to the side to where there's a miraculous opportunity for us to be able to somehow go to the game. Just seeing Comerica Park the way that it is right now, and like the fans, we haven't been to the postseason since 2014. Like 10 years, guys. Like, that is unbelievable. Like, imagine all the Tigers. I'm not going to say like it's an emotional day, but it's pretty damn sweet and emotional, because there's probably so many Tigers fans that thought the Tigers would never get back. People that probably died, people that aren't here anymore, and they get to experience. Like, it's unbelievable. That's why I love sports, guys, especially Tigers baseball. It's unbelievable. And like, the Tigers are back. The Tigers are back, boys. Hey. I love the Lions. The Tigers are back.
Hey, Boone,
it's unbelievable.
I just brought this up to Lucas too. In the chat was talking about it. So it's just like the fact that they're here is the win. And honestly, They get to play. Not that they don't want. Of course, you should want to win and take this as far as you can take it with how they're playing. One of the hottest teams right now over the last 50 games, 34-16. Boone. They're hot. They're a team no one wants to face, and they're a team that, although they want to win, they don't have as much pressure. The pressure is going to be on their opponent. Like, in these young guys, they don't know what they don't know. They're a team that, again, I agree with you. No one wants to face right now with how they're playing baseball. I mean, it's an opponent that the pressure will be on their opponent. That's how it's going to go. So it's great. It's amazing. The fact that it is impressive.
It's one of the most all-time runs in Major League Baseball history. Like, it's one of those things that's going to be talked about forever. I think I heard you guys say it was like the only second time ever done in baseball what they did over this stretch to come back. I think I saw a graphic too on Twitter that they had like a 0.2% chance, or like a 2% chance of even making the postseason.
Yeah, it was,
and turning it around, and there's still 2 games left, and the other teams still have games to play, and you're in. Like, it's unprecedented what they did throughout this stretch of baseball. It's like you're almost at like a shock of loss of words. It's unbelievable.
Because this is what I mentioned to Lucas while you were posting the graphic, is like it's not just what the Tigers did, because they needed to win and go on the streak they went on, have that success. It's also the Twins and the Royals collapsing. Yes. Like that, you needed. It wasn't in just the control of the Tigers. It was out of their control for that, and it happened. Everything just kind of happened. Everything just kind of happened and fell into place. Like, that's what makes it even more special. It's like the Tigers did what they were supposed to do. It's like when the Lions went on that run when they were 1-6 and they went 8-2 but the Seahawks couldn't, or the Rams couldn't beat the Seahawks. Like, remember like that? You need these things to happen, and they just sometimes don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They did.
Like, you need things to fall your way, but you just put yourself in a like the stat to me. It's like the last 40 games, you're the best team in the MLB. Like, that's what's crazy. There's 160 plus games in Major League Baseball season, and over a 40 game stretch, which is what, a quarter of a season, if not more, you were the best team in baseball. And that's like AJ Hinch stepping up and making the right moves and the right plays, like Chris Feder doing what he's done in the bullpen with the pitchers and being able to get guys that, like, honestly, half of the guys on this pitching staff, like, I'm sure none of us have heard of, and no one knows who they are. And Chris Feder steps up, and he did it last year. He's done it in the last years past. It's just like we haven't had hitting. And finally, some hitters start to step up. Young guys start to play well, and they start to hit. It took guys like Torque to go down into the minors for a long time, and then to get his bat back, and then to come up and start playing again. And multiple guys on this team had to go down and come back up, or we had to pull different guys up. Like, it's just, dude, it's such a it's the way everything's happened. It's been a roller coaster of a season. And then the trade deadline where everyone's like, oh, trade Scooble, trade, like, and then, like, for me, I mean, I'll say what I thought. I remember talking to my cousin about it after a couple of shows, and I'm just like, to me, you have young, like, why would you even think about trading a guy like Scooble when you know you have such a young core and you can build around him going forward? And the fact that they didn't trade him away and they kept him and they said, hey, we're rolling with you. We're going to give you a deal at some point. And it's unbelievable how and Scott Harris has been able to kind of do this. Now, obviously, I'm not even, and this is a thing too, guys, from 97-1 and all these other plays. The one thing I don't want to hear over the next week, like, this is postseason baseball now. You're in October. The one thing that shouldn't be a conversation until the season's over, until after the World Series, is what does Scott Harris do in not the summer, but the offseason? Like, what is he doing in the off? Don't even want to think about that or hear that, because that was a conversation last week. And I guess, like, as a reporter, and we do have to have those conversations, you're in the playoffs. Let's talk about it. You have a chance to go win a World Series. And I don't think there's like an outside chance of the Tigers making a run to the World Series. This is the hottest team in baseball. It's not like they just snuck in to the postseason and they got lucky. And Jeff, like, I know you're saying, like, the team's lost. Like, this is a hell of a good baseball team. They're 31-11 in their last 40 games. They have dominated teams. And they have won big game after big game. They've been down in games, and they come back and win them. They've dominated in one game, 7-1, 8-1. Like, this is a good baseball team. So, like, there's no, like, hey, what's going on in the – no, this is, hey, what's going on in the postseason? Because there's a chance this team could go win a World Series. And I do believe that. And it's not because of the roster. It's because of how good they're playing together. Like, if you see a team like that, that's like a team of destiny. Like, that's some stuff you see, like, with the Lions last year, where the Lions, we had no one thought they were going to go to a Super Bowl, and they were one game away from it. So, like, that's why I love this. I want
to mention the point you about the MLB, just the record amongst other teams. I mean, the last 50, they're 34-16, best record in the MLB over the last 50 games. Second, the Padres, 33-17. So one win more, they have one loss more. So that, and again, they're doing that, by the way, with, at least in the teams in the top 8, the least amount of home runs. So the pitching staff in the pitch, it's unreal. I mean, it actually doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's Jeff, incredible what they're able to do.
Can I make a request from you?
What is that request?
I don't have any here. Can you go get a real American beer, crack one open, and give me a nice chug? A little like, ooh, like, give me something here.
Well,
come on, Jeff. I know you don't like you don't drink beer as much as me, but I drink beer. Go get me a beer, Jeff.
Good call, Boone. Good call.
I'm a beer guy.
You're making him upset, which we can support as well.
He's like, I don't want to drink beer at 9 at night. Oh, we're drinking beer at 9 at night. The Tigers just made the playoffs.
Bro's gonna drop a soliloquy before he.
I want to give me a good chug.
I do. I keep a case right outside the door at all times.
I'm out. I drink them all. That's all I drink. Real American beer. Give me a bigger drink. Come on. The Tigers are in the postseason. Show the label.
This is great, actually.
I
wish you guys had a beer with me. It's kind of I'm like by myself drinking beer. Like this is like
I need to get a case.
Turn into an alcoholic in front of our eyes, Hefe.
Now, a little smash on the head. Give us something.
No, I'm not doing that. But I wish you guys had beer with me. Damn. But you know what? Man, 3 teams out of the 4 will be in the playoffs this year. That is a fact.
It's crazy, man. I said that last year. That was a bold prediction of mine. Was 3 out of the 4 teams, and I thought it was it was gone. I thought it was a no shot.
Jesus. Yeah, this is. I don't even know what to go from here. I mean, I guess we can get our score predictions. I mean, for the Lions. What a little like Tigers tangent. I love that. Talk some Tigers ball. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. I feel like it's like, should we keep talking Tigers? I don't know.
Hey, cheers to everyone drinking at home. Hey, whatever you're drinking, shots. You know. Geez. Hey, if you're having some shots, some beer, some alcohol, hey, whatever beverage you got, liquor. Cheers, baby. All right, cheers. There you go. Right in the screen. Boom.
Bourbon.
Yeah. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Jeff's gonna be fucking.
I want one so bad right now. I want one.
I mean, who do you think I am? You think I'm gonna get wasted and have one beer? I mean, come on, what are we doing?
Maybe Boone.
At least I'm Jay. I'm drinking with the chat. I'm drinking with the audience.
I don't have a real American beer here. I need to get some real American beer. I need to get like a fridge here, like a mini fridge that's like all customized real American beer.
Fully loaded. Maybe they can hook you up, Boone.
And I'll text them today. I'll see if we can get it up on like
we need
a
like a real
stand.
American beer like fridge or something, don't we?
Yeah, dude. Imagine like behind me like a nice like a real American beer like fridge lighting up in red with all the beers in it with like some like Lions and Tigers and Red Wings logos. Just those 3.
Hey, appreciate the people, man. Look at the drinking with me. All right, hell yeah. That's what we should. That's what it's all about here. All right, you know what? Let's get our score predictions. And then we'll get to our pick'ems for around the NFL and stuff. Derek, he says, Jeff, I'm into 3 peach lemonades. You're a legend, Derek. I mean,
can we have
this? This is what I'm talking about.
Can we have like someone call in?
I mean,
should I just like call? Should I like call someone and put up on my phone? I don't know.
Are you talking about like what do you mean? Like having a guest on, or are you talking
like
about
should I like call Chris or something? And just call him, just like, hey, like how we feeling? I don't know.
You know what? Is he's probably making some video right now, honestly.
Yeah, you're right.
He probably.
And then people in the chat, if you have reactions and you want to send them into Crunch Time, just hit us up on Twitter. We can play them on the stream as well. Like if you want to document your own reaction, give your take, send it to our Twitter. Boone can pull them up, and we can react to it on the show. So that'd definitely be a good thing if you guys
can we do
voice your opinion.
Hey, you Baldo. Cheers, brother. Let's go. What poll do you want?
Can we just do you guys believe the Detroit Tigers can win the World Series?
Oh, you're getting people. You're getting people at a positive time. Hold on.
I'm so juiced right now, boys. I don't even like. I'm the Lions guy, but this is unbelievable. The Lions or the Tigers are the postseason. Ooh, that's unbelievable.
Poll is up. I mean, come on. All right, let's see what the people. I mean, we already got a bunch of 100% votes. I mean, you knew the answer to that, Boone. I mean, you just did.
I just wanted to see.
He wanted to confirm.
I mean, Oh wait, never mind. I mean, boys, we can go to the game tomorrow. The tickets have dropped drastically. They were like $40 earlier today, and they're at like $18 now. They've like drastically dropped.
And then we're going. All right, we'll be there. You guys
doubleheader tomorrow. If you guys are out there, Saturday 1:00 tomorrow, we're going to be at the Tigers game, and then 7:00 the fellas are going to be. Maybe we'll have like if you guys are out there, we can find somewhere, go grab some like pizza or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking over here. I'm spitballing. Right. In between games. Oh, we can go to our spot at LCA. Haven't been there since last year. The pizza spot.
There you go.
I think it's like Mike's Pizza Bar.
Let me get them score predictions. What are we thinking? All right. And I guess I'll tell you mine. All right. And yesterday, we talked about the team total. What was that team total? Like 24.5? And I think I said under. So I think this game is going to be a defensive game, but I think the offense is going. There's going to be a fourth quarter drive. You need the offense to make a play or make plays or punch it in. So for me, if we're going score prediction, I think all the things I've mentioned, all the things I've talked about this week, they go into they happen. They go in. I'm speaking it into existence. The run game, efficient, effective, looks great. The defensive line with Aiden Hutchinson. I think Aiden has a big game tomorrow, or on Monday. And I'm going to go with the score prediction, guys. I think this game, 23-20. I think the Lions win by a field goal. I think it's going to be a tight game, and it's going to come down to the offense late. Maybe you need a drive to win. Jake Bates, boom, kicks one for the win. All right, that's how I see this thing happening at Ford Field. Or the Lions go up and the Seahawks can't get it done. Either way, I think they win by 3, 23-20. Give me the Lions.
Boone, you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm very similar. I have Detroit Lions 24, Seattle Seahawks 20. I think it comes down, like I said, it's going to be a defensive game. I think Jake Bates is definitely going to be a big part of it because I think he's got to be able to hit the field goal when it counts, because if Jake Bates misses a field goal, I think that hurts the Lions dramatically in their chance to win that game. But I have confidence in Jake Bates to go out and do so. The Detroit Lions just have to keep Geno Smith and that offense off the field. And how do they do it, fellas? By running the ball. Big David Montgomery game, big Jahmyr Gibbs game. I think both of those guys have over 100 total scrimmage yards. Maybe Demon's just under, but I think his presence just alone, and with his ability to keep drives going, his ability to put the ball in the end zone when they ask him to do so inside the 5, it's damn near automatic. So when you look at that, I think those are the two players that are kind of the keys to the game like we talked about earlier. And I do think that they make Geno uncomfortable. I do think Geno throws a pick or two. If it's not 2 picks, I think that there is a forced fumble. I don't think Geno Smith has been playing the cleanest football that he has been. And especially when you look at the competition, it's kind of it doesn't really add up to what Geno Smith is known for, where he's not a very overly talented quarterback, but he's very efficient. I think that the Detroit Lions kind of knock him out of that. The offense stalls out. They're not able to run the ball. I think they get down the field. But yet again, this Detroit Lions defense bends but doesn't break, and they hold them to 20 points, and they win by 4, and they go 3-1 into the bye week, which I think all of us are very happy about.
Hey, you guys know this. I have the script when it comes to these games. I know exactly what's going to happen in this Lions game today or on this Monday night. And the only thing I hate about heading into Monday night is the fact that we have to wait all the way till Monday night to see another Detroit Lions win. That's the worst part about this whole thing. But I do believe, and I truly believe this, guys, this Detroit Lions team, they're not going to lose for a fourth straight time versus the Seattle Seahawks. It will not happen. It's Dan Campbell. If I know one thing about Dan Campbell, and I know you could be like, oh, well, Booner, he's lost 3 times to them. He still hasn't been able to figure it out. He is going to take pride in a primetime game at Ford Field, Monday Night Football, the whole world watching. And he is going to, like I said earlier in the show, show what the Detroit Lions identity is. And right now, what we know this Lions identity is, it's play very, very high level defense and run the ball and pound the ball down defenses' throats. And that's what they're going to do on Monday night. They're going to get David Montgomery going, Jahmyr Gibbs going. We talk about all the time getting Amon-Ra St. Brown going. Guess what they do with Amon-Ra St. Brown? You guys remember a couple years ago that we said hey, Amon-Ra St. Brown sometimes is another part of the run game. Some of those short passes and short routes that he runs coming out, whether he's coming out as a screen or a little slant quick route, they're going to do that a lot with Amon-Ra St. Brown with the secondary that they have to try and get him involved. Sam Laporta is going to be open, I think, at the times in the middle of the field to get a couple big plays. Jamo, keep an eye out on him. They have to watch over him. I don't know if you guys saw it today. Ben Johnson said there's one thing and one thing only that we keep seeing with Jamo. And he says, I call it the Jamo effect, the Jameson Williams effect. And he said they're putting safeties over top of him. They're bringing everyone over Jamo because they don't want to give up a big play. And now he's like, all right, now we know that. And we know if they go away from that, we know what to do. And if now that they've been doing it, we know how to adjust to it. So give me the Detroit Lions 27, the Seattle Seahawks 20 on Monday Night Football versus the whole crowd. The whole city of Detroit watching. We know what this city is about. We just saw the Tigers go to the postseason. We know the city's going to show up on Monday night, going to have a great time. Go in there, dominate, be loud. Detroit Lions come home with the 27-20 victory over the Seahawks. Come on, baby.
Guys, I think we're all in kind of agreement how this game's going to exactly look. I mean, I saw some score predictions in the chat. I want to bring up. We have Derek 39-28. Hey.
Oh, that might be like a scoregami. That might just be a scoregami.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. You have let's see, Shift God 24-17. Let's see. T-Mac 34-14 Lions due to blow someone out. That's fair. And let me see. Let me get a couple more. Burning issues, 24-17 Hawks. Let's see. Ball don't lie, 24-20 Detroit. Dom Rivera, 27-10 Detroit. And also, I just want to mention, Dave said Tigers plus 3,400 to win the World Series. Just want to throw that out there. All right. Let's get to our NFL pick'em, shall we? Let me put on some music. Let's get to it. Let me get this ready so we can start. All right, you guys ready to do some NFL pick'ems? I don't know.
Yeah, I added them into the doc there.
Hey, you trust me?
Yeah, I added them in for you. I want to make sure you can cook there.
All right, let's get to it. First game. My narrative. Saints visiting the Falcons.
Oh.
And the Falcons right now -3, according to ESPN Bet. I think it's across all betting platforms. But anyway, where are you guys going? I'll speak for me. Give me the Falcons. They're a top 10 team to me. I told you guys earlier this week when we did our top 10 teams. Saints are dealing with some injuries, and I think the Falcons get another win in their win count at home. So give me the Falcons. And to cover.
I agree with both of them, because I think Bijan, you saw what Saquon Barkley did last week, and I think right now when you look at how Lane Johnson was banged up for the Eagles, the Atlanta Falcons offensive line is better. And I think when you look at Bijan Robinson, he's right on par with Saquon Barkley, so I think he's due for a big game. And just right now, I'm sorry, I understand that the Saints look really good, but that team is going to fall down to earth. If you make Derek Carr throw the ball over 20 times, the Atlanta Falcons are going to win this game, and I think that does happen. So give me the Falcons to win and cover at home. Boone?
Yeah, just give me the Saints, baby. I don't care about I don't care about anything else. Give me the Saints, baby, over the Falcons. Jeff, I think the Falcons, I'm not saying they're frauds. I just don't think
No, you're saying they're frauds.
I just don't think they're what everyone they're one play away from being 0-3. Give me the Saints. I think the Saints are a more legit team than this Falcons football team. Give me the Saints.
That's a wild statement, but we'll move on. Next game, Vikings visit the Packers. Packers are favored by 2.5. Vikings are hot. Packers could be with Jordan Love. I don't know. He's been practicing. Might hold him out another week, but regardless, I guess with the information you currently have, Packers or Vikings, and I'll say this, fellas. This is where the Vikings hype dies. This is where it ends. Not completely, but they get a loss. They're not going to 4-0. All right. Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell gained a lot more respect from him. I always thought he was a really good head coach. But now it's like what he's doing. I mean, I'm watching all 22. I watched someone break down what the Vikings offense looks like, and he recently had a quote that young quarterbacks don't ruin organizations. Organizations ruin young quarterbacks. And what he's doing with Sam Darnold is insanely impressive. But give me the Packers. I think the Packers humble them with Malik Willis or with Jordan Love. I think they're a better football team. And I think that's displayed this week. I'm not going to lie. If Malik Willis plays, I'm a little more skeptical, but I'm still rocking with the Packers. And I think they are at home, so it's at Lambeau. Give me the Packers.
I know I sometimes come off as a Packers fan. I know that seems like it may have that narrative out there because I like a lot of things that the Packers got going on. Not as a Lions fan, but just watching it, there's a lot of admirable things about the Packers are doing. But there's one man that people are forgetting about. I don't think talking about enough about this game, and that is Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is going to return to Lambeau, and he's going to come back and say, this is why you guys should have never let me go. Josh Jacobs, very fine running back, but he can't catch the ball like I can. He can't run the ball at his explosive level like I can. I think Aaron Jones has a big day. I think Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur, pretty on par with each other. And defensively right now, I think that the Vikings are playing better defense. And when you look at Jordan Love coming off an injury or Malik Willis, I think Sam Darnold, there's a chance that he still throws the ball under 20 times this game. So give me the Vikings to move to 4-0. And, yeah, they'd have to cover too.
All right, next game. I'm going right to the Jags, visiting the Texans. Uh-oh. It's a game, Klotz, huh? Come on, Klotzy. Them Jags. Them Jags, it's been an interesting storyline so far this season. Trevor Lawrence forgot how to play football. I don't know why or don't know how. But I will say this. Texans are looking to bounce back. They're favored by 6.5. 6.5 against the Jags. It's a little ridiculous. But I also understand it because the Jags look like complete shit against the Bills. I'm going to be honest. I'm going with the Texans. I got to go with it.
Yeah, I thought you were about Jags.
The way they looked against the Bills and the way the Texans looked against the Vikings, I just don't. I don't. You know, Lucas, I try to come up with these paths to victory. I don't have a path for the Jags to win. I don't have one. I wish I had one. And they're on the road. They're in Houston. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, you were right. You're right. The line at 6.5 is crazy. It should be at like 10.5. The Jaguars are going to get smoked this week. I don't care if Joe Mixon is out yet again. C.J. Stroud played, in my opinion, the worst football game he has as a pro. I understand that Tank Dell's dealing with injuries, but you look at that Jaguars defense, and you just like Josh Allen Hines or Josh Hines Allen, like very good player. Outside of that, they're cooked. We talk about Trayvon Walker. I mean, he's good occasionally, but they have nobody that's going to stop that Houston offense. And defensively for Houston, I think they are just going to antagonize Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's playing like he's lost out there. He's probably a bottom 10 quarterback in the league right now. Doug Peterson isn't doing that team any favors. Travis Etienne's not going to get the ball going on the ground. So I think the Texans, they win. And at 6.5, they're covering with ease. That's going to be a two possession game. It's not going to be close.
Well, now you're on the hot seat.
0-4.
Now you're on the hot seat.
All right.
Because the Colts are welcoming in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pretty game.
And the Colts are underdogs at home, which is, I'm not going to lie, Klotz, a little suspicious. The Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 2.5, so you can get the Colts at plus 2.5. Where are you at? And I'm going to throw you a bone. I'm going to throw you a bone because I love you. You know, I really do love you. So I'm going to give you a little bone. I think the Colts win this game. I do. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can't be last in the NFL offensively and still find a way to win these fucking games. Like they just, I don't know how it happens. The Steelers are going to drop one this week, and Anthony Richardson has not looked good. And I'm not a huge Anthony Richardson guy. I think he's talented. I just don't know if he can put it all together. And maybe it's because he hasn't played a lot of football. Like he didn't play a lot in college, and now he was out his rookie year, so he still needs some time. But I'm going to rock with the Colts this week, Klotz. I don't know how confident I am with that pick, but I'm going to go with them to win. You give me a home underdog here. Give me a home underdog.
We saw what the Patriots did against Seattle as home dogs, but last week, you don't remember, said the Colts were going to lose, but they do win. So, reverse psychology, we're going to do it one more time. Give me the Steelers to win and cover on the road. Justin Fields has his best career day of his career. I don't care if Jalen Warren's out. The Steelers dominate. T.J. Watt has 3 sacks on Anthony Richardson.
Oh, he's out?
Anthony, my junkyard dog, Jalen Warren, is unfortunately out for this game.
I'm saying you're out on the Colts or what?
No, but when I pick against them, they win. So we're going to do it again this week. Okay. Anthony Richardson's going to play terrible. Michael Pittman's going to stay sleeping when it comes to the regular season so far. He's not going to perform. And Jonathan Taylor is probably going to be held under 40 rushing yards. So that's going to be the take. And the Colts will not win this game. They will not win this game.
Wow. What a change. I mean, me and the Jags, you and the Colts. I mean, it's a tough season so far for us, Klotz.
My Colts got to win.
All right, that's fair. All right, we'll move on. Next game, the Philadelphia Eagles, favorited on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1.5. They're favorited on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game is tricky, very tricky. This is a team that beat the Eagles last year in the playoffs, sent them home in Tampa. This is tough. I'm gonna go with the Eagles here. Actually, no. I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last minute switch. They have injuries. AJ Brown's out. Devonta Smith's banged up. They have a lot of injuries. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, given what they looked like last week, are due to bounce back. So, give me the Buccaneers.
I was about to rip that pick into shreds if you were going to take the Eagles on that one, especially when you look at Dallas Goedert went off. Like Dallas Goedert has career high in receiving yards last week. But now he's got to go up against Levante David. And we know what he does against tight ends, being followed with the Detroit Lions and watching what he does against Sam Laporta. Obviously, Sam Laporta isn't getting locked down. But Levante David is a damn good pass coverage linebacker. And that defense, I think, is feeling some type of way after letting Bo Nix have his best career day at home. Jalen Hurts kind of been struggling. I know statistically doesn't look too bad when you just watch him go through his progressions. He's holding on to the ball for way too long. He just looks kind of out of sync. And I think that Todd Bowles, we know what he can do as a defensive coach. He gets Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. turning the ball over. And I think Baker Mayfield, he's going to have a good day. When you look at the secondary for Philly, it's still very inconsistent. And I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and company, they clean up. So give me the Bucs to win at home and obviously cover with that as well.
Well, I'm glad we agree. All right, 2 games left. This one, Chiefs, 7-point favorites on the road in LA to face the Chargers. 7-point favorites, the Chiefs. Okay, this is where I'm at with this game. I think the Chiefs win, but I think the Chargers cover. That's where I'm at. I think this game, given how the Chiefs have looked, I think this game will be closer, but I think they'll win. So give me the Chiefs to win, Chargers to cover.
I think the Chiefs win by more than 7. I think no Joey Bosa, Derwin James suspended, and Justin Herbert just dealing with that ankle sprain. I think that's a huge factor. I think the Chiefs offensively, they're going to start figuring some things out because I think they're going to have to rely a little bit more on Patrick Mahomes now that Isaiah Pacheco's out. They got Carson Steele, they have Samaj P. Ryan, they signed Kareem Hunt. That's great. But you have Patrick Mahomes, and I think with no Travis Kelce getting going, you look at how open the middle of the field is going to be. Whenever the Chargers and the Chiefs play, Derwin James is always covering Travis Kelce. There's usually a play that Derwin James actually makes on Travis Kelce. So with no Derwin James out, I think Mahomes, he's not in for a huge day, but I think statistically he's going to have his most productive day. Rashee Rice, I think, has a big game, and I think Travis Kelce has a very solid game, without a doubt, probably the best one of his season so far. So give me the Chiefs win and cover. And there was also something like the ref that is in that game. I forget his name off the top of my head, but throws the most flags in the NFL and by a large margin. And you got the Chiefs and the Chargers. Who do you think is going to have the refs in that game?
They're going to give it to the Chiefs. I'm with you there. All right, one more game. I'm glad Booner's not here for this so I can trash his Bills. Bills are on the road.
Where they headed?
Favorites against the Ravens by 2.5 in Baltimore.
That's
favorited.
Great.
Right, I mean, they've been playing well, so I'm trying, all joking aside. This is where the Bills, they're going to drop one, okay? And it's not a bad thing, all right? Ravens, they're at home. They look good. Lamar and Derrick Henry are nightmares to every team because of what they've been able to do on the ground. I think Baltimore they edged the Bills in this game. I think it'll be close. I think the Ravens won't win by more than a touchdown, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. Where you at, Klotz?
I'm going with the Bills. Bills. Well, we even talked about it yesterday with Brian. Like Mike McDonald, he had a huge impact on that Baltimore Ravens defense. Even guys like Marlon Humphrey, who is just one of the better consistent corners around the NFL throughout his career, looks like a shell of himself right now. So when I think you have Josh Allen, he could potentially have a big day. If not, James Cook in that running game is going to get going. I think right now the secondary for the Bills is hurt, but there's no real burners out there. The release threats outside of Zay Flowers, who he's good, but he's not a wide receiver one in this league. He has talent, but I just don't – obviously he's not an X type of guy. So I think the Bills match up actually pretty well defensively with Baltimore, so I think they find a way to win on the road in Baltimore. They go to 4-0, and what does that make the Ravens? 1-3. So yeah, rough start for Baltimore.
Yeah, and you know what? You picking the Bills, I respect it. But it's going to be. It's honestly the game. I try to watch as many games as I can, especially now the Lions don't play. I'll be watching a lot more football on Sunday. This game I will be dialed into. I cannot wait. My favorite game of the weekend. Let's get to some college football, and then when Boone gets back, we'll get to some his best bets, Booner's bets. So we'll start Minnesota visiting Michigan.
Oh, Boone.
I honestly, I was back like 4 games ago. I just didn't want to interrupt. I figured I'd let you guys flow. I'm glad you guys both picked the Bills, correct?
No.
Oh no, Ravens.
I did.
Of course, Jeff went. Jeff loves to go against the narratives, man.
There's no way Lamar and that offense keeps up.
The Bills are one of the best teams in football. I don't care if you're on the road or not.
All right. Hey, well, you laughing at me now? We'll see this Monday.
You laughed at me all summer.
Tuesday, we'll be back doing an actual show talking about this. But Monday will be all lines. I'm assuming you have the Bills, and I don't have to ask you. I mean, the Bills are going to win that game. What about this game, though, Boone? Minnesota visiting Michigan, going to Ann Arbor, going to the Big House. Michigan's minus 10.5. 10.5 a little steep, Boone, given how they looked, huh? A little steep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just interested. I'm going to say this with this Michigan game. I've just been interested to see, like, there's these rumors. I don't know if it's rumors, but hey, maybe Sharon Moore is going to air it out a little bit, try and get Alex Orji a couple more pass plays. I don't know. I watched this Minnesota team versus I think it was North Carolina earlier versus Mac Brown. They're not like the worst team, but they're not the best team. So they should be able to go in there and win this game, especially at home. Like this should be a game where you do win by 10 points. Like go and dominate. Like the defense is too good. Like you should hold Minnesota under 10 points. Like 10 or below, and if you do that, like go at least get 3 touchdowns. Like you can win this game 21-10, 27-10. Like that should be the expectation. I would take the -10.5 personally. I probably won't put money on the game. I said a couple of weeks ago, this Michigan team, there was this things like with the Michigan team last year where I was so confident in them, and I knew like I don't always like to put money on my team if there's a chance. Like I don't want to lose the bet and then like if I lose the bet and Michigan still like it wins by 8 or 7, I'm gonna be like, all right. But so like I'm just gonna stay away from it unless I'm confident and I know they're gonna win by a lot. I'm not that confident, but they're gonna win this game though. Give me like 21-10 Michigan.
All right, hey, 21-10 Michigan.
And they cover.
Okay.
I think the game starts out slow. I don't know if you keep my bad, Hefe. I think the game starts slow. I think it's going to be a fucking black and blue game, but I think you're right, Booner. At home in the big house, following this win at USC, I think they found a little bit of identity. I don't think they do what you want them to do and start throwing the ball. I think they stay committed to running the ball this game, and I think that Michigan does win. They do cover, so Boone. There's still some confidence going in that Michigan program. I don't know for how long. They'll get tripped up eventually, but it won't be this week.
Yeah, I think I'll go Wolverines win this game 24-14. That's what I'll go. Maybe 24-10. So I don't think they score 24 points, still a good amount, but I think
24-10. I like that too. Like I think that's a fair. I like 21, 24-10, even like 27-10. I do think they dominate defensively. They dominate, and it's just about like can Minnesota stop the run? Probably not.
Do you guys think? I'll just ask you because it's not even about who will win. And I'll go to you, Klotzy. I mean, you think Ohio State covers? They're minus what, 23.5? Let me double check. 23.5. You think they cover that line?
Against who?
Michigan State. Aiden Childs. Can I interest you?
Okay. Aiden Childs, who's like 18, 19 years old.
23.5.
Defense that has multiple NFL guys all over it. I think when you look at this offense, Ohio State is the best team in the nation right now. I don't know if they will be at the end of the season, but undoubtedly Ohio State right now is the best program. I don't care about Georgia right now because Georgia, they're good, but they're not as organic and is playing at the level right now against as Ohio State. I think offensively and defensively, it's the most balanced team in the nation, and they're built on running the ball. You look at Quinshon Judkins, you look at Travion Henderson, there's nobody that's going to be able to stop them outside of maybe Michigan, but I don't even think Michigan can stop them. I think they could only limit them. And then you have Jeremiah Smith, you have Ibuka, you have all these weapons, Cardell Tate. There's going to be problems for every defense. There's no way that Ohio State doesn't cover. I understand that's a large spread, but Michigan State does not have the offensive answers for this Ohio State defense.
I've got a question real quick.
I agree with everything you said, Klotz.
Are we allowed to play Bally Sports like clips from Twitter?
No, we're not.
Like maybe like a 10-second clip, like just a little bit?
You've been pushing this.
I'm just asking, dude. There's so many videos right now on social media, and I'm just asking.
No, we cannot play anything.
What game are we talking about? Ohio State. I'm passing on this game. I have my Booner's best bets in a couple minutes. I will deflect that one.
Now, last one before we get to it, guys. Just give me your winner. Georgia, Alabama. I mean, currently right now, Georgia's a favorite on the road, 1.5. Kirby Smart never been able to beat Nick Saban much, but I think this game, it's going to be. I think Georgia, given how they looked last week, I think they're due to bounce back. I love Kalen DeBoer, but I think that the Bulldogs get a win here, and I think they cover. I think they win by no more than a touchdown. I think this game's semi-close, but I'm going to go with Georgia in this game on the road.
Give me Bama. I like Bama in this game. At home, I just think that right now they're not the team with the pressure on them. I don't think that I know it's in Alabama, but Kirby Smart last year didn't win the SEC championship game. They know that they should have been in the playoffs. Didn't get there right now. They have something to prove. They should be the team that is favored, and they are. When you look at this Alabama team, there's a lot of things that they can expose just because there's not much film on how they want to run it when you look at the SEC. So give me Bama in a close one. I know it's not the most smart pick when you look at the two teams. You're like, okay, no, Georgia's going to win this game. But when you just look at how college football has been looking so far this year, I like Bama a lot.
I'm passing this game too because it's in my best bet. So
well, let's get to those best bets, Boone. You can talk more about it, but here's Booner's best 5 bets of the weekend. Boone, what do you got for us today?
All right, we've got a great weekend of football. I left the Lions. Typically, I keep the Detroit Lions on because they play on Sunday night or they play Sunday. They're playing Monday, and we will have our pregame show, and we will talk a little bit more, and I will have my Detroit Lions ones. Guys, I love the college football slate this weekend. It is one of the better college football slates we'll probably get all season long, so that's why I ended up settling. For 3 out of the 5 for college football. First one, one of the most electric football teams to watch in the land right now, Ole Miss and Jackson Dart over there with Lane Kiffin. I love watching this Ole Miss team, guys. Me and Gentry last week, we were betting on them. Like I can't stop watching Ole Miss. They're such a fun team to watch. I'm taking Ole Miss, number 6 Ole Miss, -16 over Kentucky. Kentucky a bit of a down year. Like this isn't a normal what we've seen recently with Kentucky, but this Ole Miss team is just that good. Like they might win this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Like I truly believe they can win this game by 3+ touchdowns. Second game, Klotzy, I figured you liked this one. I said, hey, I'm going to stay away from the Ohio State game because I have this in my best bets. This isn't me being a Michigan man and going at Michigan State. This is me just saying, quite frankly, I think this Ohio State team's pretty damn good. This is a really good Ohio State team. And even if they're on the road to Michigan State, like we've seen Michigan State in different spots. I just think with this game, like they struggled last week versus like they had a chance to beat Boston College for a little bit last week, but the turnovers, I think like these Aiden Childs turnovers, the offense, I just think it's going to be a little too much versus Ohio State. I think this Ohio State team is just too good. The defense is too good. They have too many weapons. I just think you're going to see a bunch of 60, 70, 80-yard just break off touchdowns, and I think they're going to win this game by 4 touchdowns. And I hope I don't offend anyone. I really do. I hope this isn't offensive. Listen, we just try and make money here on this show. Yeah, we just try and make money on this show. That's the whole objective of this segment is making money for the people. Third one, Jeff, I do want to ask you this. I can't remember who you picked there because I was doing some social media work. But can you see a world where Kirby Smart loses?
I can. I went with Georgia, even though know I'm a big Kellen DeBoer guy. But I think Georgia, based on how they looked and based on his record against Nick Saban, I think they get this one. If Alabama wins, this is a massive win in his first year. I don't see it this year. So I'm with you. I'm with you on the pick.
This is the thing. Sometimes there's these close games, and you could break it down all you want. Sometimes you just have to close your eyes, and you have to run through the whole game in your mind. It's like you have to watch the live game in your mind. Like, what's going to happen? Boom, boom, boom. I cannot see, like, in the fourth quarter, Kalen DeBoer versus Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's been in the SEC. He's lost, like, 1 or 2 football games the last 2 or 3 seasons in all of college football. I don't see a world where Kirby Smart gets out-coached, this team gets outplayed, and like we watched Georgia a couple weeks ago, Jeff, when we were watching the UFC fights, and Georgia looked a little rusty.
Kentucky got them.
They did, but I just think that was one of those one-off games, and I think Georgia's about to have like one of those bounce-back games versus a team like Bama, and they're gonna, hey, we're still Georgia. Carson Beck's, hey, I'm still Carson Beck. Don't forget who I am. Don't forget who we are. This is going to be a national televised, everyone's going to be watching this game. One of the first top 5 matchups of the season. And Georgia's going to be like, yep, same old Georgia. They're right back to where we've seen them. And this might be a SEC championship kind of look ahead here too as well. So I think this is going to be a really good football game. I think Georgia ends up winning the game. I'm taking them money line. It's basically a pick 'em. Over to the NFL. The Chiefs at the Chargers, guys. I think this is an interesting one, Klotzy. I know you mentioned a lot of those guys on the defensive side of the ball in LA are out. And when they're out, I think like this Chargers team's been holding teams low, and they've been playing lower scored games. But I just think with the Chiefs, you're never going to keep the Chiefs under 24 points, 27 points. It's not going to happen. So for the Chargers to win this game, I think Justin Herbert, he's got to go out there. J.K. Dobbins has to perform. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, like these guys are going to have to go perform to win this game. They're going to have to go out there and put points up. I could see like a 24-20 type of game here. I think this goes over. I think 39.5 is a little low. I think Vegas is like trying to dangle something in front of you. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like when those people like dangle $1 in front of you and they're trying to be funny and pull it away from you when you grab it. You know what I'm talking about, folks?
In that type of moment, Bill?
Yeah, they're like, oh, got to be quicker. I think this is where like Vegas is holding it in front of you, except Vegas is really slow, and you just snag the money out of their hands, and you're like, you're an idiot. That's what's happening here with this line. And then the last one, this is why I didn't comment on the Bills. Plus 2.5. You're telling me the Bills are underdogs? I don't care if you're on the road or not.
What?
They're winning this football game outright. I'll take the plus 2.5. If it's a field goal win for the Ravens or anything like that, and we get the money to make the money, I'm doing it. Give me the Bills plus 2.5 versus the Ravens. I'm not betting against Josh Allen in this team. Those are my 5 picks.
Hey, great job, Boone. I disagree vehemently with your Bills.
Do some mailbag.
You know what?
I agree, Boone.
Yeah.
Well, Boone, I'm man enough here to admit that I was wrong about your Bills.
I was wrong too. I'll admit. I just think the Ravens get one this week. Sorry.
Can lead a horse to water.
Dom says, don't forget to hit the like button for the boys. Appreciate you, Dom, for that. Yeah, hit that like button.
Yeah, hit the like. No, it's a Friday night. Go ahead. Let us enjoy our Friday night as well. Hit that like button for the fellas.
Hey,
hit the like button, subscribe.
I love that. Hey, Klotz, would Day make it to Sunday brunch if OSU lost to Michigan this year, Klotzy?
Shouldn't. If he manages to not, he doesn't, because I feel like it's tough to say like you have to win the national championship. If he does not make it to the national championship, he should be out because there's no excuses. Like the donors dropped so much, the boosters, like there was so much made to make sure you make it to the national championship this year. If he doesn't get it, he's never going to, in my opinion.
It's a fair assessment.
He has to. They have to. It's a national championship or bust for him. I think if they don't win the national championship, I think get this guy out of there.
If they make it there and they lose, like I'll be pissed, but I'll be like, all right, you made it there. You're not going to get fired. Like you can't fire a coach after they make it a national championship.
But he's done that before. He's done that before, though. You know,
not Natty. Boys never won a big game.
Oh no, I'm sorry. With Justin, they were a game away, right?
Yeah. Against Clemson.
That's on me. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I stand corrected there. All right. Let's see. And by the way, I do want to address this, Mr. Detroit City. Now that Broder is at UFA, can we expect a weekly segment, if not a full-time edition? Band getting back together. Let's go Tigers. And by the way, I did see on Twitter Doc mention the Broder thing. And by the way, we wish Broder nothing but luck. I mean, Broder. There's nothing. Hey, we got no beef with no one over there, but the guy at the very top. But regardless. I don't know. He said in there that he might be back. Where I don't want to get into like his details.
It sounded like he's still going to be doing shows there, here and there. So
I mean, full transparency from everyone in the chat. Like we don't keep anything. I mean, I'll just say it. They that's how that single man operates. He doesn't. He's not a fan of our friends coming on this program. So, and that's okay. We accept that. We move on.
I think I'll say this. I hope I can speak for you guys. I think I would love to have people on our show. Like there are people that I would love to have guests on. We've had conversations. It can't happen, sadly.
Yeah, just out of our control there. So I can't even answer the question. Will there be a weekly segment? Like, well, no, because the man over there will not allow it.
So if he's still working there and doing a show there once a week, it sounded like he was, then probably not. But I mean, if people leave there and you know. I say it all the time. I love the guys over there, the people over there that we've worked with. I did a show with Broder for a whole football season. I love Broder. Just situations.
I just saw Easy today. I mean, Easy's the man.
I talk to Easy like every day. So
I would love Easy or Spenny or I mean, I can go through a bunch of guys. I mean, there's so many.
Flannel. I've mentioned it. I was like, I would love to have a Flannel Friday segment of him going off, but it's impossible to be able to have any guys on our show, which sucks.
And by the way, want to address this too. It ain't Stick.
Oh, Stick's the best.
I'm actually going to see Stick tomorrow. That man, I will go to war for. I love Stick. He is one of the greatest.
I'll say even when we were there, and maybe Stick wasn't as involved towards the end, Stick was still fighting for us.
Oh yeah, I love
Stick. And that was when it was like we're in a similar situation probably as Broder might be in, or this or that. The Stick was still like going to battle, so there's nothing wrong with Stick. Stick is an absolute.
And Stick can only do so much. I love that man. I mean,
a dog in a good way too, by the way. Not bad.
I mean, hey, he loves Jared Goff. He's got a little, he absolutely has that's like his guy.
I texted Stick the other day.
I love him.
We did the watch parties last year, and Stick and I were like the only ones that were ever like positive when the Lions were down, and we bonded the whole year. It was just like a good bond. And after the game the other day, when it was like second half, it was rough. Everyone was going at Goff. I had texted him and said, "Hey, stay strong, brother. We're Lions and Jared Goff. Hold your ground." That's what I told him, and I love Stick.
Shout out.
All right, well, that'll do it for today's show. Hey, appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Big shout out to the Detroit Tigers, the Gritty Tigers. And also Monday, we'll be having our Sunday programming. So Monday, instead of a live show, it'll be pre-game, watch party, post-game, just like Sundays. So be there Monday. Can't wait to enjoy the game with you guys. If you're watching, if you're going to the game, have fun. But if you're at home and you're chilling, tune into our programming. Watch it with us. Watch our pregame. Watch our postgame. Come hang out. Love to see you guys there. But until then, have a great weekend, guys. And we'll catch you. All right?
Peace. Love you guys.
Deuces.